Like, there's a small community of people who do that to my videos. Like if they want to do it, fine, but I don't want to encourage them.
They do what to your videos?
They masturbate to my videos.
We are recording.
Oh, for fuck!
I just don't know how you would, or why you would.
Well, you know how sometimes you just hear his voice and you're like, oh, yes.
I know, but like critical analysis of media doesn't really, get... Whose rocks does that get off?
The thing is, you light a candle,
Oh, God.
and you're in your PJs, and you stick on why Bleach is the best anime ever by Super Eye Patch Wolf, whatever the video is called, and you just have at it.
If you're listening for the first time, I am so sorry. I promise this is a genuinely good podcast and that we do have standards.
Yeah.
Who are we?
The Let's Fight a Boss video game podcast, the strongest video game podcast. I'm sitting here with two of the finest pottery spinners this side of the Atlantic.
Sweet.
At first, I'd like to do a little PSA. It is actually Lesbian Appreciation Day, and we are sitting here with its lowest form. It's Niamh.
Hey.
And two Niamhs left. We are sitting with straight face McWhite privilege. It's Bryan.
Hey everyone, keep believing.
And with you always, I'm your host, John. Bryan, you have been watching Season 3 of Better Call Saul.
Yes, I have. We are, 3 episodes into it now? I'm loving it.
It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah. For me, my two favorite moments is with my favorite character, who is Mike. And so far this season, there's been two, bits where Mike is doing something, and you as the audience are going, what's Mike doing? And the scene will go on for 10 minutes, and it's not until the last 30 seconds where you're like, oh, that's what he's doing. Wow, Mike's really cool. And he's done it I love those things.
Yeah, in a way, I really hope too many people didn't bounce off Season 1, because I think a lot of people went into the show expecting Breaking Bad again, and it's not really that. But, I am getting to a point where I nearly... it's entering Breaking Bad territory for me, where, when it ends, I'm like, oh, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What is the tone of it? I've never touched it because I hate Saul.
It's... Okay, so for me, it's 50% Mike doing side stuff. Mm-hmm. And that feels like Breaking Bad because Mike was doing that stuff in Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
And tonally, it's the exact same because it's all these, wide shots of deserts.
Then the other bit is, human disaster Saul Goodman. Because, half the time he's really clever and really smart, and his plans are really fun to watch work out, and then the other half is him just fucking up and being a disaster of a human being.
Yeah, and just getting outsmarted by other people or just completely missing the point.
Yeah, and it starts off with his brother has this big weird side story where he has this, I can't tell if the condition's physical or psychological.
It's psychological.
Where he can't be around anything electronic or batteries. And it takes up a lot of Season 1 and isn't very entertaining.
Yeah.
But it really starts to pay off in Season 2 and 3 as the brother kind of becomes... I think he's the perfect antagonist to Saul.
Yeah.
Because he's kind of a nice guy, but he's a really intelligent, nice guy who has all this... Him and Saul have all these weird brotherly issues, and it's fucking great.
It's kind of interesting because you kind of know what's going to happen to Saul, because at the moment he's still called James McGill. Mm-hmm. And eventually he's going to be called Saul. And all these characters that he knows around him in his personal life, he's gonna completely break ties with them.
Yeah.
Either socially or they die.
Is there any female characters?
Yeah.
You'd love the female character.
Yeah.
She's tough ass lawyer.
Oh, she's great.
Yeah. She's really, really good.
Yeah.
She's I don't want to get too much into it. She's Saul's kind of friend / they don't really show a whole lot of romantic stuff. I'm not sure what their relationship is, but I know they have been, right?
Yeah, it's kind of on and off. But then they both love cult movies.
Yeah.
So she really, really likes films like The Thing. So all of a sudden I'm like, oh, okay, I kind of know. So she is a professional lawyer, but she really, really likes weird movies.
Yeah, she's fantastic.
She likes grindhouse films.
And it's interesting as well because sometimes they flash forward to after the events of Breaking Bad, and Saul's life has gone to shit.
He's a manager at a Cinnabon.
Are they doing a 4th season? Is this it? Do you think it should go longer?
I'm totally enjoying the ride right now. Like, I'm fine with it going just for like as long as it wants.
The way the timeline works is Breaking Bad takes place in 2008, from 2008 to like early 2010. But Better Call Saul takes place in like 2002, 2003. So they have 5 years to play around with, and in Better Call Saul they've done like a year and a half. So there is lots of space, but there still needs to be breathing room between Jimmy McGill ending and like Saul Goodman actually starting.
Yeah.
But people from Saul Goodman's life are now appearing, which is cool.
What did you not like about Saul Goodman in Breaking Bad?
He's just annoying. Like, really annoying, and I hate his face and his hair.
I don't think this series will alleviate that at all.
Yeah, his hair is he still has that fringe.
But, like, it also does a really good job of showing how he got that way.
Yeah.
Because, like...
You know, really into Walter and Jesse's story and, like, Skylar. So it's like anytime Saul was on TV, I was like, I wanted that to end. I really do like Mike, though.
Yeah. Then the series is definitely worth watching. There's a lot of Mike and you get a lot more background on Mike.
Yeah, Mike's amazing in it.
Yeah, and like when you see, like the first time you meet Mike, he's just like a toll man, like just working in one of the stations, and like he's not really like that at all. And watching him kind of slowly ramp up, it's fantastic. Niamh, you have been watching The Leftovers Season 3.
I'm going to let Bryan take this because I have only watched one episode. Have you watched?
I watched the second episode,
Yeah.
Niamh. You are going to love it. It's a Nora episode.
Yeah, my girl.
Nora is so fucking cool. She's also in Fargo Season 3, but she's not as cool. Or hasn't had a chance to be cool, but yeah. Leftovers Season 3. This is the final season of The Leftovers. There's going to be 8 episodes. It is the most HBO fucking thing ever, where it's just a very, very well-produced, crazy fucking show that like made by one of the Lost writers, and you are not going to get any closure.
I think you might. I think you might. I think like okay. So
I wouldn't trust it at all.
I love with The Leftovers that they decided there's 3 seasons, beginning, middle, and end, and that's it. Like, because the worst thing about a TV
has
show,
it been this way like from the beginning?
they kind of announced at the end of season 2 that the next season will be the last one, and you can kind of see that arc. Like when you look back at season 1, you really see the beginning, middle, end kind of pattern with it. And I love that idea that we're going to, at least, maybe it's not closure, but we will get an ending, and it won't be something that will just peter off and get bad.
They definitely introduced 1 or 2 characters in the second episode, and I get the feeling that's all you're going to see of them that season.
Yeah.
And it seemed to just kind of close the chapter on them.
If you're not watching The Leftovers, I guess we should describe what's kind of going on here.
Yeah. Okay, so The Leftovers is there was a rapture, 2% of the population disappeared, and it's about the people that weren't raptured and what society looks like now. And it focuses on a small group of people that are kind of interrelated to each other because some of them are actual families or some of them are neighbors of each other, but it's just them kind of picking up the pieces.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like this big thing has happened. There's no scientific explanation. There's no religious explanation. So people are freaking out. They're like, can we go? People just disappeared into thin air. There was nothing left. So it's this question of, can it happen at any time? Which then cults start springing up out of nowhere that like are there to be a constant reminder that this event happened.
They're a really good cult.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. But then there's like con artists as well, because people will just grasp onto any form of hope. The way they pitch the show and the way they've talked about in the interviews is that it's supposed to be kind of the real kind of social reaction to 9/11 and just people's different ways of coping with it.
I think I've only watched the first 4 episodes of the first season. I did really like it, and I want to go back. But what I liked about it a lot is that it's really not a show about what was the rapture, what caused it. Like, it's not a bunch of scientists trying to figure it out or anything. Mm-hmm. It's just about how it affected the people who were left behind, and that's so much more an interesting story.
Yeah,
it's really interesting. Season 2 is great because there was just one small town in all of America where no one was disappeared from, so everyone starts flocking there because they think it's a safe space. So that's where people get conned, and there's a whole pile of shit happening, and there's all these tents and pop-up towns happening outside the gated walls, and they're all trying to get in. It's just could happen this way.
Yeah.
Like, it's really fascinating. It's like the way the best kind of zombie movies are always about how people kind of turn on each other, or like people can't really deal on it, and it's like the real monster is humanity itself, where it's like this is kind of the same thing. It's like what's interesting about it is not the big mystical event, but how people deal with it afterwards.
But then, like, there's still regular daily life because people still just go around, drive cars and have phones. Like, it's just our world, but a slightly bit different.
Yeah, it's like a bleaker version of our reality.
Yeah.
It's cool. Bryan, I didn't actually know Fargo Season 3 was out.
Yeah, it started the other day.
How's that going?
There's only one episode out, and I was not impressed with the first episode.
Right. I could not get into Season 2.
I really, really like Season 2.
Yeah.
Me too.
I really, really liked it.
Whatever it was, it just didn't click with me like the first one. And I thought the first one was like one of the best pieces of television in such a long time.
So, Season 3 is about Ewan McGregor, and he plays twins in it. So he plays identical twins, but they don't look anything alike each other, but they're both played by Ewan McGregor.
Okay.
It stars Ramona Flowers, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, as one of the girlfriends of one of them. It stars Nora Durst, aka Carrie Coon, that's the actress's name, but she's just playing the cop, because there's always a cop every season in Fargo. So she's playing the mom cop this season. It kind of does the same kind of setup where it's like someone is going somewhere to do a shady illegal act, and they end up in the wrong place, and now they have to pick up the pieces.
Sure, yeah.
And it's a complete like miscommunication, mistaken identity thing. And now a bunch of people who would have never met each other are now caught up in each other's lives. Like, it's Fargo.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to keep an eye on that one.
Yeah, and it definitely connects in the universe of seasons 1 and 2 and the movie, but they haven't explained where it connects yet. But
Yeah.
I really don't like series that do that whole like twin thing with the same actor playing it. It's complete distraction for me. I'm always kind of looking if I can see the comp, if I can see the stand-in, that kind of stuff. Like American Horror Story, where like Sarah Paulson was the conjoined twin.
Oh my
and
God,
they had
Jen.
the shots that was like they tried to do it as artfully as possible, where they'd have like very extreme shots where her face was just in the bottom right hand corner, and then cut to the other one and it'd be the bottom left hand corner for the other twin. But it was still like distractingly annoying. I kept looking at it to find the seams, and I couldn't get into the narrative because I was too taken away with the people playing the role.
Yeah, totally.
Like, do you guys ever see Looper?
yeah,
Joseph
Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah, he plays like a younger Bruce Willis.
But they put prosthetics on his face.
Yeah, loads of prosthetics and makeup, and it's like for the entire film I was just staring at his stupid makeup face, and I was like, I can't get into this at all. And Looper's a good film, like, it's decent.
He's
I
I have those complaints about Looper, except the makeup and prosthetics didn't bother me. I was just like, I don't think this is a very good movie.
yeah,
I
maybe.
like it, but I really like that director.
Yeah,
He's directing new Star Wars.
yeah.
And he also directed some of the best episodes of Breaking Bad.
Some of the great stuff about Loopers are more stylistic things, like the shot composition. He does really nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a well shot film.
He's a cool director.
But I fucking hate that makeup. Drives me nuts.
That film was super cheap. Like, that wasn't made for a lot of money.
Just get a young lad who looks like Bruce Willis.
But Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
He's
JGL, Niamh.
He's so like dark featured, and Bruce Willis is like a bald egg man.
But 500 Days of Summer.
I know, yeah.
The greatest film ever made.
I've never seen 500 Days of Summer, and you know me,
You'd
I'll watch.
probably like it.
Oh,
Yeah, it seems like a you thing.
Like, I hate it, but you'd probably like it.
But you know how, like, I really go out of my way to watch every fucking film ever, and I'll just watch any old shite. But I haven't seen 500 Days of Summer, and I need to solve that problem.
I used to
tonight.
know a girl, and her favourite film was 500 Days of Summer, and she was an asshole. That's my story.
I can imagine if someone said that was their favourite film to me, I'd be like, oh, I don't want to talk to you
Yeah,
anymore.
just be like, oh, this ain't gonna work.
We're not going to have anything in common.
Except if you're a listener to Let's Fight a Bosscast and it happens to be your favourite film. We're still your virtual friends.
We can help you.
We'd never leave you.
Let's just say we've received emails about Zoe Deschanel in the past.
Have we?
Yes, and we read them and we go, next.
I watched The Handmaiden, which is a film you two had seen previously.
Yeah.
And I know we talked about it a fair bit, alright. I just got two things to say. That's a really good movie. You should go see it. And we also talked about porn and hentai a little bit last podcast, and I think those were some great sex scenes. They were like, they didn't feel super voyeuristic, and they were worked well into the story, and they were shot really well.
it's like he addressed that. He took all men off the set. He like only female staff were working on it, and he made sure the actresses were as comfortable.
You were saying there was just one female with a boom mic.
It's got some trivia on IMDb where it was just the two actresses on set, one female boom mic operator, and a remote control camera controlled by Park Chan-wook in a different room.
That's the way you should do stuff like that, I think.
Close set.
Yeah, because like Blue is the Warmest Colour is this other lesbian film that is a pile of fucking garbage.
That's like 3 hours long, isn't it?
I still haven't watched it, and I really, really want to watch that.
Every minute of it is such boring shit, like Bryan. Like, it's the worst. It's the fucking worst.
But it's a French movie.
Actresses afterwards talked about their experience doing the sex scene and how voyeuristic it felt and how disgusting they felt.
Oh my god, really?
Yeah, like,
it's
it
awful.
was, like, they really, like, it's just night and day experience between that and Handmaiden. But I love The Handmaiden. It's such a good movie.
It's so good. And like I think it's really hard to get into some of the stuff with that movie without like, you know, kind of getting into spoilers. But man, the way that film unfolds is just beautiful. Like it's so good. Highly recommended.
The guy who directed it, Park Chan-wook, he had an interesting job before he was a director.
What was it?
A film critic.
Oh, that's good. I think that's a really good.
Do you think someone was like, why don't you make a fucking film? And he was like, fine.
Yeah.
And he goes and makes like Old Boy.
There's a really good Mark Kermode video about it, and someone asked him, is there any advantage to have been a film critic now that you're a director? And he said that he takes criticism differently in that it doesn't affect him personally because he knows what the film critic is going through.
That's interesting.
But he says that he wouldn't go back and become a film critic. But he also says it's pretty difficult because if you were a film critic who directed a movie and you made a bad movie, nobody would ever trust you as a film critic.
Yeah.
I think that's interesting because, like, with a critic, you consume so much stuff and you think about so many things critically. Probably far more so than you would if you were a filmmaker. And I'm not saying that makes you a better filmmaker than an actual filmmaker. I don't think it does. But I think it does give you a perspective people lack. I was reading a bunch of manga recently for a new video. Just like a whole bunch of like different manga. Just the first chapter. I read like 12 first chapters of a bunch of manga. And after a while, you could see these really obvious glaring issues in the way like writers would write chapter 1 of a manga, and I thought that started to become like really obvious, and it made me wonder why they're not fixing it. And the reason they're not fixing it is that they've never sat down and done that. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Wow. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that because
Yeah.
really that should be up to the editor to address that
Yeah,
stuff.
because like when do you ever do that? When do you ever like, I'm going to read 12 chapter 1s of something now? And I thought it was a really, I'd encourage people to give it a try. Just like it's kind of tiring because you're absorbing a bunch of new information, but it is really interesting thing to do.
But there are patterns that show up.
Unbelievably. And like after a while they become so obvious, you're like, oh, for fuck's sake, come on, you know? And it
just becomes super tropey.
Yeah.
What else did we watch?
Niamh, I'm curious to hear about the Autopsy of Jane Doe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What is this?
This is you'll really like this film, Bryan, I think.
I love films.
So it's about a father-son mortician team who are living in probably the ass end, like out in the middle of nowhere in America. So it's a really old house, and it's like generation after generation of morticians. So
I
it's
love
like,
ass end America.
Yeah, so it's like a really old wooden house, and they go down this elevator shaft into the basement, and it's all these wooden walls that then continue and gets more modern as it's like progressed by generation. It's the young guy and his dad. They get a body in last minute just before closing, and turns out the body is haunted. It's the fucking best premise for a movie ever.
Is this shitty good or good?
Well, we see a bit of both. You see, it's a really competently well shot film. Like, it is gorgeous. Some of the scares are so good. Like, this is like, I wish this was a video game. It makes a good premise for Resident Evil. There's like these dark corridors, and what you learn in it is morticians used to put a little bell around the ankle of a corpse just in case they were alive and they would move. And like the father is like a traditionalist, so he puts little bells around their ankles, and then when shit starts happening and these bodies start rising or do they? You hear this like little bell just tinkle down this dark hallway that's lit by 3 lights, and as it gets to each light, the light just shuts off. It's like really moody.
I love visual scares.
Yeah, like it's
that really sounds like a good set piece.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, they're never cheap scares. They're always like good film in that sense, but then it's also super corny because it is a haunted cadaver. Like, so is it good? Yes.
Do ghosts live in the butt?
Where else?
Like,
would
is there a
ghosts
bit
live?
where they try and cut the butt and like a ghost flies out going, "Whoa!"
It was smelly in there. It sounds like gourmet junk food.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. So like her body is
The greatest
pristine,
genre of media.
Yeah.
and they start to like say cut her open, and they realize that the lungs are all black, and they're like, this is like to do with being burnt like alive. But her body is perfect. So how? It's a decent film. It's a really interesting horror film that I think people should watch, especially if you like shit like Resident Evil, Silent
Is
Hill.
there any, let's say, legal way to watch it?
No, I torrented this.
Torrent.
In theory.
I mean, I don't know. I didn't look into it.
Could we go on LimeWire maybe?
I have a fresh copy of Kazaa ready to go.
Maybe it's on Putlocker.
Yeah, that's like
Song
really
Shell,
bad
I've
of
got
me,
like
but,
2 Linkin Park AMVs nearly downloaded, and then I can...
I downloaded
Finally, then
before.
you could break the habit.
Linkin Park have a new album coming out in a month.
Is it going to be another Christian one?
Was the last one Christian?
I don't know if it was their last one or maybe like their 4th one, but it was like they had like a
What are they,
amen
POD?
No,
reframe.
POD were Christian and then not Christian.
Boom!
At first they were like, Jesus is awesome, but then they were like, check out this fucking table tennis tournament in a prison. That's the video to Boom. It's the best video ever.
I hate table tennis.
Paramore are back with a new song, and they're also Christian.
I went to a Paramore concert once.
Yeah,
It's good.
Yeah.
They put on a good show.
I can imagine they would.
John, can you tell us your Green Day concert story?
Green Day.
You went to like a festival and Green Day were performing?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll tell it because
No, just what was, because a lot of shit happened at that
Okay.
festival.
You were in the crowd and they picked a girl from the audience and brought her on stage.
I'm completely blanking on this
John
story.
was that girl.
No, and the girl was on stage and she was delighted, and John said, wow, it looks like she's having the time of her life.
Oh yeah, and everyone around me, like, that's the worst joke I've ever made. Everyone around me fucking exploded. They were like, "That's genius!" And people were coming up like high-fiving me and everything. I know, like that is the coolest I've ever been, and how pathetic is that?
There's just good energy at a festival.
Oh my god, was there not anyone who was just like, oh?
I'm sure there was. I'm sure you were like
I would
4 or 5 rows away, just going, asshole.
What a dick.
That should be me getting those high fives. American idiot.
That sounds awesome, Steve. I'm very curious to check that out. I checked out. We watched a ton of stuff this week.
Yeah, we did.
I checked out Hunt for the Wilderpeople.
Oh, this is the New Zealand film, isn't
Yes.
it?
Yeah, I really want to watch
This
this.
is from the director of the vampire movie, the documentary
What We Do in the Shadows.
Oh,
and he's
great.
also the upcoming director of Thor. I really liked What We Do in the Shadows. I think I might like this a little better. This is a really funny, really sweet movie, and it's like this fat little kid, and he's like a little delinquent, goes to... He dresses a lot like you do, Brian.
Yeah.
Like, he has like colourful hoodies and stuff, and he looks deadly.
My man.
And he has like cool caps and everything, and he goes like out to live, like he gets like fostered out in like the boonies in New Zealand, and he lives with this really brilliant woman and this like really kind of crotchety old man, and events unfold, and he ends up going through the forest with the old man, and the old man's like teaching him to hunt and stuff, and it's a very much a kind of worlds collide kind of thing, but the humor's really like awkward and stilted in a really good way. Like, it's very kind of dry humor, but it's so funny. Like, I laughed many times throughout it, and it's really beautifully shot. There's a really shitty CGI wild boar in there at one point, but I think he kind of it did not have a big budget, but it's a really, really cool film, and it's on Netflix. And if you liked What We Do in the Shadows, if you like that kind of, I don't know what you call it, that sort of just kind of slow, naturalistic humor, this is a really fantastic version of that.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that. That looks great.
It's
I love that director. His films are so hilarious.
like, I watched it, and my first thought was, I can't wait to watch this with my parents next Christmas, because it's just a really good film to stick on that everyone that like it's not boring. Like there's a bunch of really great stuff in it, and it's really weird as well. Like there's a man who thinks he's a bush at one point, which is quite good. But
haven't we all?
But it's like it gets really sad as well. I don't know. It had a lovely genuineness to it, you know. So
the one thing I read about it was that it kind of like has bits in it that kind of feel like the best bits from a Pixar film or the best bits from like a Ghibli film.
Yes,
because it kind of feels a bit like Up, but it also kind of feels a bit like Princess Mononoke or Spirited Away as well, where it just has like
there's like a real fondness for nature in it.
Yeah, and that it doesn't talk down to its audience.
And like there's just a load of little bits like the first night that the kid is there, the foster mom is like, you know, showing him to his room, and he's like there's your radiator, there's your bed, there's your quilt, there's a hot water bottle, there's a sharp knife for if monsters come, and she just like flies right past it, and there's an actual knife on his table, and he's like, what? And it's just it's a lot of very quick good little jokes like that, but it's I really liked it. Bryan, Silicon Valley Season 4.
Yes. It seems all the TV shows are back, except for Game of Thrones, which isn't back until July because they had to shoot at winter this year. And there's more dragons, so they had to do a lot of dragon animation this season. But Silicon Valley is usually back in April every year, so it's 4th season now, and it's made by Mike Judge, who created Beavis and Butthead, and it's as good as ever.
That's such a good show.
Yeah, I love Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
They brought back one of my favorite characters, Russ Henneman, who is a billionaire, and his whole thing is that he drives like this really cool car.
Was he the guy who stopped being a billionaire?
Yeah.
He's amazing. He's maybe the worst human being I've ever seen.
Yeah, so it's so for people who haven't watched it, it's just about a guy who makes a cool algorithm that reduces file sizes and can reduce like anything like in terms of file size because people are just uploading shit to the internet constantly.
I never thought about how valuable that would be before this.
Yeah,
show.
like space on the internet is so important.
Yeah.
And Mike Judge used to work in Silicon Valley in the 80s, and it's just based on his experiences. It's about a guy who has like a golden egg or like the real potential for the next big thing, but it's just about trying to convince people to fund it.
Yeah.
So there's this recurring character who's a billionaire who's real into like funding tech projects, but he doesn't know anything about tech, but he's really, really rude and aggressive. But he drives like a car that has doors that open up like a seagull, but he plays the most Bryan music ever. So in one episode he's playing Limp Bizkit's Break Stuff. In another one he's playing Crazy Town's Butterfly.
Crazy Town are coming to Dublin.
Oh shit. Okay.
I meant to message you guys the poster.
Okay. But in last
What are you
night's
shaking your head for, Niamh?
I haven't
You
thought
just
about
excited?
Crazy Town for like, I don't know, 10 years.
Can We Please a Butterfly is the song at the end of the episode.
Yeah, sure.
You're my sugar fly, butter baby. I used to sing that instead. But in last night's episode, he drove off in his car and it was played to Papa Roach's Last Resort.
Oh my god.
So he's just like a 40-year-old man, and like this is what he plays out of his car, and he receives like pleasure from it.
I mean,
'Cause that's
I think Blood Brothers is still a pretty fucking sick song.
Yeah, you're going to be 40 at some stage, and you're going to be...
Yeah.
Don't tell me you're not going to listen to Limp Bizkit when you're 40, Bryan.
I can't wait. I'm gonna get the fucking kids, the grandkids. I don't know. They're gonna love it.
That's a pretty swift shift to grandkids.
Look,
Like,
I have no idea how to count. I don't know.
okay, sure. But you're enjoying season 4.
Yeah.
Niamh, you've been watching Hunter x Hunter.
I have... This is like, we've watched so much TV, and a lot of them are season 3s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is Hunter x Hunter season 3 that I just finished.
I was kind of trying to make it. I was thinking about making like another season 3, but then I
did it.
I'm sorry. Go on.
Sorry. That show gets so good.
I
Like,
fucking know.
the Phantom Troop arc, I guess it continues on more from that because I've just finished season 3, but that whole arc with Kurapika like trying to get revenge was really something special in terms of stuff I've seen in anime.
Yep.
Gon and Kahlua doing the auctioneering, going around little marketplaces, finding antiques, thinking about like reselling them. Like that's like such a little side thing, and it's so in depth. And you know the only person who could write that is someone who has an interest in that kind
Yep.
of stuff.
And that's what I love about that guy. He'll be like, okay, let's spend 5 episodes like playing a card game, or
Yeah.
you know.
It's like, I really love that stuff. Niamh fact, I nearly once decided to be an auctioneer. So I was just like really...
Someone add that to the wiki.
I really like appreciated that part of it. I was happy to see Kurapika because he's my favorite character.
Like, that's his arc.
Yeah, like it was so good. And
Or
just,
her.
Yeah. Okay, I got to that episode today. I watched it. So like, okay, the boss of the Phantom Troop, what's his name?
Oh, Crollo.
Yeah. He's like, okay, so he's a genius, like, amazing person. And he goes, I didn't expect the chain user to be a woman. And Kurapika is just like, I'm not woman. But then, like, later on, like, Melody says, like he's not lying. Like, nothing he said in this car since he's not lying. I don't know if they ever bring up Kurapika's gender.
They don't,
again.
and in the Japanese dub, he's referred to with neutral pronouns.
Yeah.
And we've never seen him or her shirtless either. There's one cover of Hunter x Hunter where they're not wearing anything, and there's like a hand over the chest, so you just cannot tell.
I think that's cool. Like, I don't think you need to know, but I really like the idea that there's that ambiguity there in the first place.
Yeah, and it's funny because like Togashi plays around with gender a lot. There's a proper trans character later on, and like the treatment of it is so good and so un-anime, and it's. I'll let you get to it, but it's really good. But then like there were trans characters in Yu Yu Hakusho as well, treated not as good.
Yeah.
But that stuff's really fascinating.
This is going with the times.
He has an interesting preoccupation with gender.
I think, like, the thing you get from him a lot is he cares about his characters being people who have feelings and have friendships. Like, Gon and Killua is, like, probably, like, the nicest friendship I've seen in anime that feels so real. There's this rivalry, like they want to beat each other but they like love each other, and it's just like, of course, like we're going to do this together, and it's just like, it just seems so
it's such
good.
A little boy friendship.
Yeah.
Like I remember being friends with people like that. You know. Which of the Phantom Troop is your favorite?
I really like Hisoka. Like, obviously, I really like his text message to Killua and how he like signs it with his little emoji with the star and the teardrop. I thought that was a brilliant touch. I liked, what's the woman who can read memories?
The woman who can read memories.
Begins with P or something.
Is she the one with the gun?
She's a hook nose and she just has the memory bullets.
I love her so much.
She was really cool in it as well. Like, it was sad to see her.
I was
her story
kind of devastated how that concluded.
But the whole thing is just like there's like infiltrations of like buildings. There's like auctioneering. There's a whole episode of them just tracking them, and just it's
so from episode 1 of Hunter x Hunter, I went from this is a totally average middle of the road anime to wow, this is actually pretty good, to Heaven's Arena where I was like, wow, I'm really enjoying this, and then the Phantom Troop arc, I was like, this is one of the best animes I've ever watched. Like, that's the point where that got me like, okay, this is fucking incredible.
I can see how that happened with you, because with season 1 and 2 I've been watching them like over about like 3 months. Season 3 I watched it all in 2 days.
Yeah,
I was like,
that's how I watched it as well.
Like,
and it was just, I was obsessed with it. Uvojin versus the Shadow Beasts, where they like paralyze him from the neck down, and the fight keeps going.
Is that the one where they're fighting in the quarry and they have all the cars parked around so they can't escape?
Yeah.
And then on the other side they're kind of like walled up.
Creepy is like scary as well. Like, he gets like scary.
He's an asshole. Like, and he later on he's like Kurapika. He's totally not a good guy. He's not like a villain either, but he's not.
He's a guy who's had his whole clan murdered. He's going to carry that weight.
Yeah. As much as I love that arc, I still think the Chimera Ant arc is better. And I don't know, there's a lot of furry shit in Chimera Ant arc, so you'll probably think that's cool. But, I'd be really curious to see what you think of that. The next arc is probably my least favourite in the whole thing, and it's still super interesting, but I know some people are super into it. It turns into a card battler.
I'm Yu-Gi-Oh fan, so okay, let's go with this.
I love Yu-Gi-Oh as well, but just the start of this one's quite slow, but man, it ends so well.
How many seasons is there?
I think
there's 5 on Netflix, and I don't know if that's.
I think there's 6.
Okay,
but the last one's kind of a half season. But God, I can't wait for you to get to the Chimera Ant arc. Like, it's just, it takes everything you're talking about it, and it just pushes it so much further.
Cool. And it's just gorgeous looking, like...
Just consistently amazing.
Yeah, like the
Madhouse,
poses people
Madhouse
are
do such
like,
a good job.
like pushing, like everything is just such a clean silhouette, and all the shots are great. Like there's never been one like, oh, that's a bit dodgy. Like it's just polished.
I really, really wish One Piece looked like that. It's such a shame.
Yeah, I guess with One Piece, they just know they don't need to try.
Yeah, because One Piece and Dragon Ball are both done by Toei, and they don't give a fuck.
Toei just like fucking... They have
Did such a shit job as Sailor Moon.
Oh my god, Sailor Moon 1 and 2 broke my heart. Sailor Moon Season 3, amazing though. And it was the one that needed to be good.
I learned some interesting facts about One Piece recently.
What?
You know, it sold 12 million last year, and how that like surpasses all fucking any sale on anything else. It's actually in massive decline. In 2010, One Piece sold 36 million. Interesting.
I can imagine, like you can't keep your numbers that, like, people fall off.
But the thing is, it's still apparent, like, there's no lashback, or like, there's no backlash from the fans at all. Apparently it's still, like, Bryan, you think it's pretty much as good as it's ever been.
One Piece is 20 years old in July. The current arc is one of the best arcs they've ever done. The pacing is amazing. The stakes are so good. It's unreal. But the previous arc had a lot of fatigue, which was the Dressrosa arc, which ran for 100 chapters.
Yeah.
And they kept making all these like different kind of like ultimatums where like characters had to solve a problem quickly, or else the big bad would use this ability, but they stacked them, and it didn't make any sense
I watched the majority of the Dressrosa fights in about a week for, around Christmas, and I did enjoy it because I think One Piece is fantastic, but it was definitely a bit tiresome and ended a bit weak as well.
Yeah. But the current arc is so good. It's as good as Water 7 or Ines Lobby. It's amazing.
That's amazing to hear. I will have to jump back on that.
So I'm really, really, really liking One Piece at the moment.
Yeah. But Jenny, I'm really glad to hear you're enjoying Hunter x Hunter. Like, you know, I've talked about it a whole bunch. I think that show is... I think it's the best shonen. Maybe not my favourite, but I think it's the best. God damn, that Phantom Troop arc is just relentless.
So good.
Is the girl with the vacuum cleaner part of the Phantom Troop, or is she... Yeah, she's cool.
Yeah, she's maybe my favourite.
Really? You guys are so weird. Once I saw a crappy vacuum, I was like, nah.
Oh, but that vacuum's cool. It's got a mouth.
She's really good at arm wrestling, Niamh.
I really liked the cool samurai. He was cool.
Oh, Muramasa, and when he cries.
Yeah.
Oh my god, they're like the best bad guy posse in fucking anything.
Yeah, it's kind of like they need to be cold, and their leader is like, you need to continue on without me, but their humanity and their love for each other shines true, even though they're willing to commit atrocities, and that's like Gon finds that so hard to understand, and that's such an interesting thing as well, like thing that continues out through it.
There's always this like thing with like protagonists and stuff where the protagonist should be kind of bland for people to bounce off, and I hate that. It's one of my one of my most hated storytelling tropes. In Hunter x Hunter, I feel like they did it right, where it's like Gon has all these he has such difficulty understanding the bad guys, and that's another thing that gets pushed to the absolute furthest possible degree in the Chimera Ant arc.
That's such a great way of doing it, because like, you know the way you have fish out of water, so it's someone who has to ask questions.
Yeah.
With Gon, it's so written into a story, because he's like so an empathic, cute, good guy, that he has to ask questions to understand these bad guys. So I think it was in the last episode where the Phantom Troop, basically something happened that Gon and Kahlua couldn't know. So Gon just starts asking questions, and you could look at that as a kind of information dump to the viewer. But Kahlua goes... in his head, it's great to have a friend who's willing to ask questions.
Yeah.
Because like Kahlua's listening, getting in the answers and using it as a strategic way, but it also works as a narrative building way. So it's like Gon's naivety of like asking these questions is so built into his character, but just works in a way to structure the whole thing.
With like the Chimera Ant arc, like I won't spoil anything, but like the way that kind of works is like the Chimera Ants, like that faction that rises up, they're not good or evil. They're just a new life form, and they have just a completely alien set of morals that we can't relate to. They're just like animals, you know, they have no like concept of good or evil. They're just surviving. And that's what Gon can't understand at all. And like, it's done so fucking well. Like, it's just perfect.
Cool, I'm excited for that.
Yeah. Goddamn fantastic show. And with that, we are going to move into our strategy talk. This is the video game section of our podcast. And I'm going to kick things off here. I beat Breath of the Wild.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
Really mixed. I don't want to talk about it for too long because I'm sure everyone is sick of hearing about Breath of the Wild, and I'm sick of talking about it. But parts of that game I absolutely adore. Parts of that game I think are fucking fantastic. And one part towards the end that I was not expecting to get as invested in as I did is I actually got really invested in the story. Not the main story so much as the memories. I took about 3 hours and I just tracked down all the memories in a row, and I think that's totally the way to do that.
Yeah, for sure.
Bryan, you spoke, I can't remember if it was on the podcast or off, but you were saying to us recently how you thought Zelda was a great character and you really liked her.
I really, really like that iteration of Zelda.
I did not get that at all at the time, but now having done all the memory shit, that is the best Zelda they've ever done. I felt so bad for her by the end. I thought she was like a really good, tragic character. And like the way they treat her royalty and the way she sees it, I thought it was really, really cool.
Yeah, it's a huge burden.
Yeah.
I would not like to be in a royal family at
and
all.
Just like her frustration with the situation was like really palpable. I really wish they had fleshed out the other characters in a similar fashion, because she's the only character in that game. Like she's the only character who has emotions and feelings that are not relative to the direct plot. And I thought they did a really great job of making her interesting. I ended up liking the other four, but in a kind of they're cartoon characters kind of way. I got really oddly invested in that part of it. The ending for me felt totally flat.
Yep.
I think it's just because Ganon isn't a good bad guy in this, like, because he doesn't.
He's
not a character.
Yeah, he's just a concept.
And I was really hoping that we'd get something like just ain't like Ganon turning around and facing you in his like semi-human form or whatever, and like you just get nothing, and was really disappointing. And like I hate to say it, but I think these are the worst boss battles of any Zelda. And I love the Zelda boss battles. I think they're usually really fantastic. These boss battles are not, and like I'm not even going to say they're bad in a way I didn't like them. I think these are badly designed.
Yeah, they're not fun. I think they're like bad boss battles just in gaming.
Yeah, they're just bad design, I think. I feel like some of the bosses were super easy, and then I felt some of them were really damage spongy, where it was like, okay, I see what I need to do 8 times now, and it was not fun. And like I think of like the boss battles, like at the bottom of the Deku Tree in Ocarina. That's a great boss fight. I think of like a bunch of the Wind Waker ones I like. Even a lot, even you know, as much as I'll shit on Skyward Sword, some of those boss battles were really fun.
Yep. There isn't anything memorable there.
Yeah, and I hate the lack of context. I like fighting, you know, I like going into a forest temple and fighting a forest boss. I think that's really fun. I hated fighting these mechanized things. And the last boss fight with Ganon, the first part of it felt like a Dark Souls boss to me, but it felt like a really badly done Dark Souls boss. And then the second part,
It's the lamest thing ever.
it's a good spectacle. Like it's a fine spectacle, but in terms of how the mechanics integrated with it, I was really disappointed. So like, it's hard. I'm still kind of processing where I am with Breath of the Wild. It is definitely not anywhere near my favorite Zelda game. Really, I don't think going to be my favorite game this year at all. Like, I think that's not going to happen. I think it's a great game. I think it's fantastic value for money. I think it's a perfect launch game. But I guess I am definitely left wanting finishing it.
Well, maybe that DLC.
I will actually play that DLC. Like, I am curious about that.
€20.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but I feel like this is the thing with Breath of the Wild. I feel like there are adjustments that could be made to that game that could make it absolutely outstanding.
I'm excited to see what they do next, because they have this system down. Like, they have this open world thing, they have the system.
I'd love to see the Majora's Mask of Breath of the Wild.
Exactly,
Yeah,
that's what I want to see. But that's why I'm so curious to see the DLC. Because if they can do like a 5-10 hour thing with that, like I'm not saying this will be, I'm not overly hopeful with the DLC, but best case scenario, could see the DLC being something fantastic.
What happens if it's like only an hour of content, like story content?
I would not get
in
that.
a dungeon or something.
Yeah. Like, I'd be hoping for 20 quid, I'd be hoping for, like, that's a third of the price of the game.
Yeah.
I'm not expecting for, like, 33% of that game. I'm expecting an engaging 10 hours. And maybe that's foolish on my part, but I have a lot of feelings with this game, and I need to see it through. Speaking of feelings, Niamh, you've been playing Overwatch.
How are you feeling?
Good. I've reached like level 318.
I'm like level 29.
I remember when I first got it, there's an achievement to getting to level 50, and I thought to myself, I wonder if I'll get that. I have.
The other day,
Wow.
I checked your account and it was like, max out one of the characters, like get everything you can for that character.
Yeah, there's like 2 achievements per character, and I have my mains, but like Farah's my main, and I've done about like 65 hours on her now. So like, I love her. She's cool. I'm really enjoying playing Overwatch. It's just, I wanted to talk about it because we've come up to the year mark of it, and
Yeah.
I have never played a game.
I've actually been playing
consistently.
it a bit recently.
Yeah,
Still really enjoying it. Still a good game.
it's just they keep doing enough to bring you back. The event is still ongoing. It's a
I'm never going to get that Widowmaker skin. I'm so bummed.
yeah.
It's just not going to
yeah.
happen.
I've gotten like, I'd say about 30 loot boxes because I'm not putting money into this game. I'm just not doing it. Like, I just won't for the skins because it's just a lose-lose situation.
And I think that's a really shitty situation. Like, I think Blizzard are shitty because they did release a €70 game and that has paid content, and it's not feasible to get those things without it unless you're a lunatic, and I really hate that.
And it's annoying as well because even if you were to buy loot boxes, there's no guarantee you'll get the skin you want.
Yeah.
And all the skins from this event, they're all like, a lot of them are really cool, but they're all legendary, so they're the highest you have to pay for it. I got the Genji one, but I'm not a Genji main. I really want the Mercy one, so I'm hoping by the end of it I'll have enough Blizzard coins to buy it.
And like, if I would pay stupid money for that Widowmaker costume, because I think it's awesome. Like, I'd pay like 4 or 5 quid for that.
Yeah.
But they're not going to do that because they know they can't hook me if they do that.
Yeah, it's like, it's gambling.
Yeah, and it sucks. I got an Overwatch bone to pick.
Go on.
I got play of the game with Zenyatta recently. Never done that before.
Congrats.
Nobody voted for me in like the hero poll. Not one fucking person.
I just vote for myself at this stage. I'm like, fuck this. Apart from if there's someone who did a really good job, I'll
See,
throw
there
them
was
the vote.
someone who did a really good job.
Okay.
They were Farah, and they like were very competent with their turret placements. But guys, fucking come on, Zenyatta, play the game. Come on.
I'm sorry for you.
I'm
I
proud.
won't take it personally.
If you played with the Zenyatta who got play of the game, if you're listening, and I love our fans, and you didn't vote for me, fuck you.
I think as a rule of thumb with Overwatch, you should throw your vote if there isn't someone who just like stood out amazingly, but you should throw your vote to the healer because like people don't like to play healers, so you should always kind of throw it that way.
But that's the thing. Like, I thought maybe people thought I was playing too aggressively and not as a healer. But I take one guy down, I take another guy down, then I throw an Orb of Harmony on one of my teammates who was about to die, and then I took another person down. And I thought that's some good Zenyatta play.
That's some good shit. I think you were just with a team of jerks.
Devastating. Absolutely devastating. Bryan, you've been playing Persona 5.
Yes, I am now in August in Persona 5. I have played 50 hours of this game.
How much do you think you've left?
I'm thinking I'm about a third of the way through.
Whoa. You're doing like everything.
According to Time to Beat, you have about 30 to 40 hours left.
Yeah, like maybe it ramps up, but like I am taking my time.
Yeah.
And that does include when you die, so I might like spend an hour doing a dungeon and I forget to save.
Yeah.
And then I have to double that time. But now I'm in like a good level where I can do a dungeon in a day, get to the boss's door.
I did that. I went all the way through the Madarame dungeon.
In one go.
Just one go.
Yeah, it feels so good.
Yep.
So I'm at the bit now where I'm making friends with Futaba. She's the hacker girl. And she's a hikikomori. So she stays indoors all day. And she has like no muscle energy or anything. So if she like gets up too fast, she faints.
That's disappointing.
But like I guess that's a gimmick that people are into. Weak girl. She's really, really weak.
That's unfortunate.
I'm holding out hopes for Haru. They've shown her in a cutscene, Haru's the rich girl, and she's the hardest one to build a relationship with because you don't meet her until like October.
Wow, that is, yeah.
And you only have until like spring, so you really, really have to use your time effectively. But I've gotten to the point now where I've spec'd my character so he's at like level 3 in all the traits, which means I can do a lot of confident links up to like level 8. So I'm doing the one with the teacher who also works as a maid.
Oh, you got that working?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So now I can use time management during cutscenes so I can get little jobs done. But the most recent dungeon, I had like 21 days to do the dungeon, and I solved it in 2, so then I had like 19 days left to do the dungeon. So all I'm doing now is just like maxing out social ranks. It feels real good.
You were very high on this game last time we talked. Do you feel the same?
Yeah, I really, really enjoy coming back to this game.
I'm really, really still enjoying it. I felt like the second dungeon I did wasn't as strong as the first.
I love that dungeon.
I think it got there in the end, but I felt... Well, no, the dungeon itself was great.
Is this the Foxboy one?
Yes.
Yeah. The artist.
Sorry, I misspoke there. The dungeon is fantastic. The story surrounding it wasn't as good.
No, it definitely wasn't.
But in the end, I was like, okay, I see why this guy's a piece of shit now. How have the stories been in the rest of the dungeons?
Really good.
Have they been as good as the Kamoshida one?
He was definitely like the most like identifiable scumbag. I wanted
to take him down so bad.
It doesn't get it as personal as that to you, the player, but like it'll introduce a character and they're being affected by the dickhead adult that's ruining their life, or has had their life really, really like messed up by it.
Yeah.
But you're only just introduced to this character, so it's not until later on when you do the social stuff with them that you really get to see like the effects of it, I guess. So they're definitely not as strong as a first impression, but when you look back on it, they all kind of had like serious blows.
Yeah,
which I think is a cool kind of way of pacing it.
Oh, totally. Like I think the general concept of the dungeons is such a dramatic improvement from Persona 4.
Yeah, I love the locations because it's always like a cool environment in which thieves would perform a heist.
Yeah, definitely.
So you had a castle, you had an art gallery. Can I say the other 2 dungeons?
Yeah.
You have a bank vault, and you have a pyramid.
Oh, cool!
Yeah, with an ancient treasure. Something from the past.
I've been messing around in the Mementos place. That's like the kind of randomly generated dungeon.
Yeah, with the side quests.
And Mementos kind of reminds me how I got so burnt out on Persona 4, because I don't really like being there. I think it's really boring, and I think the context created by the dungeons is so important to enjoying them.
I hate the music in Mementos so much. It's so slow.
And sometimes the characters are like, man, it's so boring down here. And I'm like, yes, it is.
Yeah.
That's weird that they put that line in there as like, you're acknowledging that this is boring for the player.
You're acknowledging a problem but not solving it.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of waifu update, Makoto is on the scene. Developments are happening.
John Makoto's really, really, really cool.
Is she the brown-haired girl?
Yeah.
She knows karate.
Yeah.
She does karate? Okay, yeah, of course.
And she kind of looks like Crazy Diamond when she's in her Persona form. She has the same helmet as
awesome.
Crazy Diamond. But some people are just like, you like her or whatever, but I really like all the girls, and I'm not sure which one.
There is no bad choice in that game.
No, they're all great girls. But that's why I'm curious about Haru, because everyone's like, really, Haru? Why the fuck are you going with her? I'm like, what's wrong with Haru?
She's a pretty girl and she's rich. Ryan's 2 favorite things.
Yeah, I love money. Girls. Money girl. I think I'll call her a money girl from now on.
I think that game is still fantastic. Like, I'm blown away by how into it I am.
Yeah, like, I love Persona 4, but this is a better game than Persona 4.
I think it's a much better game than Persona 4, and I think I would have loved Persona 4 if I hadn't played 3, like, to the extent I did, but this feels like such a good step up. And I remember being disappointed because I felt like in the first 2 hours, I felt like a lot of the things that I liked about Catherine didn't seem to be in Persona 5, but now I've just seen them time and time again. The 3D cutscenes are excellent.
Yeah.
I like the 3D cutscenes a lot better than the 2D cutscenes.
Oh, no, I really, really like the anime.
Yeah, it just looks like a standard anime, though. Like, it just looks like an anime.
Yeah, but I just
terrible,
want to,
Bryan.
I just want to see a little bit of anime sometimes.
Okay, sure.
It's used sparingly.
It is. But that game's really cool. Have you watched any more of it, Niamh?
Yeah, I've watched a little bit more.
How are you feeling about it?
I played Persona 3, and that's the only one I played. And the dungeons were the worst thing I've ever had to go through in my life.
Yeah.
I was like, why would you do this? Like,
It's
this
just
part of
going
the
up a
game
building.
is so fun. Yeah, and this other part is fucking garbage
There's
and
a
boring.
bit in Persona 3 where, like, you're coming to the final boss battle, and then someone's like, oh, you know what? It's going to be another 3 months before this boss battle. And I was like, oh, fucking what?
I skipped Persona 4. I'm watching Rebecca play Persona 5. And it has me hankering for a really good turn-based RPG, or just like an RPG in general. Because it's like watching her doing it, and the way that the dungeons are directly connected to the narrative now.
Yeah.
It just makes the world of difference. And I don't know why it was never not a thing in the first place.
Well,
This is the RPG I wish Final Fantasy 15 was.
Yeah.
it really, really uses Tokyo as a location too. Like it really, really opens up, and you can visit so many like famous locations in Tokyo. But then it keeps using the background of people's opinion of the Phantom Thieves in Tokyo, and each time it does a loading, it'll like remind you that this is a heavily populated city. Like, it does a great job of like keeping that world alive.
I love how proactive the characters are in the story, because like your group is actively pursuing what's going on. And one thing that kind of bothered me about Persona 3 and 4 is I felt like your group was very reactionary. It was very like, these murders are happening and now you can go here on this night. But with this, I feel like you're going out and doing stuff, and you're, infiltrating these crazy mind palaces, and it makes me feel cool.
Yeah.
It is a very cool game.
Yeah.
I can't believe that like less than a year ago, Tokyo Mirage Sharp FE, I think that's the name of that game on the Wii U, which is also made by Atlas, and it's got a bunch of sexy teens in Tokyo.
That game has really sexy teens.
Yeah, that game fucking sucks compared to Persona 5.
Yeah.
Like, just like fucking lame.
I'm curious to check it out.
I can lend it to you. It's over there, covered in dust.
It's like, you want to see Fire Emblem characters in something weird like that. That sounds really intriguing. But...
Here's Tharja as a Persona, and it doesn't look cool.
Oh.
I don't know how you fucked that up.
Yeah.
Would you get this Gaia 5 on the Switch?
Oh yeah, that's my next Switch purchase.
That game's out in like 2 or 3 weeks.
I love this guy.
Perfect. Yep.
Yeah. And then this Friday we have Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and we also have Puyo Puyo Tetris.
Are you getting Mario Kart?
I'm definitely going to get Mario Kart, and when Puyo Puyo Tetris gets a bit cheaper, I'll probably get it on the Switch and not the PS4.
The designs for that are so good. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I can't imagine what use case you could make for the PS4 with the Switch now.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
I just think I'll just get it on the Switch.
Yeah. But yeah, Persona 5, that's a good video game.
Yeah.
So I played Drawn to Death.
Oh, that's the free PSN game for
The
this
David
month.
Jaffe
Yeah.
of God of War fame, the creator of God of War, played Drawn to Death. Have you guys heard anything about this game?
Yeah, I've listened to Giant Bomb's conversation about it.
So that's what made me want to play it. I was like, okay, I've been playing a lot of good games lately. I need a palate cleanser. I need
to eat some shit.
I need to wallow in the mud for a little while.
You need to just see like a bad movie.
Yes, and Drawn to Death is a bad video game. I'm going to say some things I like about it, because might as well. I like that it has a consistent look to its gameplay and its menus. Wherever you go in that game, you feel like you're on a 12-year-old's notepad. And that's pretty interesting. Mm-hmm. It has some of the worst interface design I've ever seen. You know when a character says something and you hit X to move forward? Mm-hmm. Not in this game. You have to hold X for 3 seconds and then it goes forward. How the fuck did that get by QA? Because it's so slow and it's so tedious. Ninja, the ninja shark girl, I think she's cool. I think she's pretty okay. Every other character, awful. And it really plays like a PlayStation 2 game. And I kind of want people to play it just so they can understand how like a PlayStation 2 game it is, because it's crazy. Like, the turning axis is all fucked up, your camera movement's slow, the aiming's imprecise. It feels like a game from last generation.
Or 2 generations ago.
Yeah, totally.
And you showed me a match of it the other night.
It's pretty riveting, wasn't it?
It took 5 minutes to set up a 4-player match.
Is it multiplayer then?
It's a multiplayer shooter.
Okay.
It's a third-person online multiplayer shooter.
Okay.
With biro drawing, cel-shaded characters. And the arena was so boring. I could not follow the action. You were just jumping, waiting for something to happen because you weren't into it.
Yeah, and like I'm bad at it. Like I was getting my ass kicked, and then on top of it all, it has this personality that's just terrible.
The personality makes Borderlands look like
the fucking Renaissance.
Yeah.
It's so, you just killed someone, I've got a boner.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Like, that's not a line from it. It totally could be.
Yeah.
And like, I've always had a thing about God of War where like, you know, there's people who really love God of War. I have never felt God of War was that good in any capacity. I think there are better, like, I don't think it's even a character action. I think like it's a old school kind of fighting game and not in really a good way. It's a hack and slash.
Yeah.
Like, you're not, there's very little challenge to that game. But then I know people have always said, oh, Kratos, he's such a good fucking protagonist, you know? And like, I've always thought Kratos was lame as fuck. And I feel this game is justification for that because these two games came from the same mind, you know? And
he's just a cool guy.
He's a cool guy from the early 2000s, you know? God, it's such a textbook bad game. It's really incredible. And like, its attempts at humor they're awful.
I really like that taunt you got where it was a sticker of a gorilla that said "fuck off."
Oh my god, that's straight to the point.
Yeah,
nice nuance.
Did you get it?
And like, it doesn't have memes in it, but it's trying to invent its own memes.
That always works.
It's super effective.
Pitch a meme, John, right now.
Pitch a meme. Okay, we got a dead kid and a skateboard.
Oh my god, what shit?
What's wrong?
It's so dark.
It's the internet, Niamh. It's fine.
Dead children are so funny.
Oh my god. Okay. That's drawn to death. Niamh, tell us about Mass Effect.
Yeah, speaking of dead children.
That was some segue, wasn't it?
Yeah, like, it is. The more I play it, the sadder I get about it. Because, like, all the kind of, yay, Mass Effect is back veneer has, like completely gone. There is no side quest I've played that I've found enjoyable. It's all busy work given to you by dead-eyed people. There's no location that I've went, wow, this is a cool bespoke location. Everything's just copied pasted shit again. The best parts of it are the loyalty missions, but to get to each individual character's loyalty missions, you have to do 5 bullshit busy work missions. So I'm trying to get to PBs. I have to go to each planet I was on to find a bit of remnant tech. I found one piece and she was like, great, 1 down, 2 to go. And I was like, you fucking gotta be kidding me. Like, anything that even starts out cool. Like, there was a story, like a moral conundrum. Okay, you have this new, you're in space, you're trying to build this new colony, and there's a patient zero. There's someone who has this contagious disease. What do you do about that? Do you kill her? Do you try and get her help? Do you kind of cover it up? There's a lot of cool shit there that they could explore. They made it into 5 busy work missions. Go to this planet to find her. She's not there. Go to this other one. She's not there. You know, it's just, they kill their own possibly cool narratives by padding out the time with all this busy work. I feel like I'm most of the time in crappy menus.
That's disappointing because the loyalty missions stand out the most for me in the last one.
When you do finally get to the loyalty missions, they are the best content. It's like, but they're only an hour long, so it'll take you 3 hours to get to the hour-long content.
I have a question. How many of the loyalty missions involve you killing someone that the person is very close to?
So far, that hasn't happened, but it has been a thing where the person is close to someone and they have been deceived in some way.
Yeah, because I went through all the Mass Effect 2 loyalty missions, and there was like, we gotta find my daughter and kill her, and then like we gotta find my dad, and then his dad's like really even, it's like, and kill him. And I felt like that happened like 3 or 4 times through all the loyalty missions, and like in the last one someone was like, oh yeah, we're gonna go meet my old partner, and I was like, oh dear. It's like it went where I thought it would.
Put them out of their misery.
But yeah, that's kind of what they see as like a hard decision. So it's just sad, I guess, that this is what Mass Effect is now. Because if this is your first Mass Effect game, it's a bad game. If you were a Mass Effect fan, it's just disappointing. as
Yeah,
like,
you could see an
legacy.
Assassin's Creed style situation where the first one is very poorly received and then they kind of make improvements. But if this is your fourth major game,
It just goes to show that the people who in the BioWare we knew that made great fun or RPGs are no more. Like, this is EA's version of BioWare. This is the horrible Mass Effect Andromeda version of BioWare, where any of the stuff that you wanted from these big sprawling worlds, the sci-fi's bad as well, like, it's just bad. It's not there anymore. And I think I needed to get this game to see that for myself. And now that I've seen it, I don't know if I'll buy another BioWare game. It's...
I guess like the question at this point is like, are they even BioWare anymore?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think even by the end of Mass Effect 3 and like Dragon Age Inquisition is better than this, and even then I found that very like dragging on, but at least they had facial animation that was and character designs that were good and bespoke. Like Dragon Age Inquisition seems like a masterpiece in comparison to Andromeda.
Right. Okay. And like Dragon Age Inquisition has its defenders.
Yeah, like I'm like, I think the story, it's I find it hard when your options is religious believer or kind of military, but like so my character played somewhere in the middle, which is not conducive to a good story.
Yeah.
I should just like roleplay a zealot or a military like minded person.
I really
But that was
hate
my own
that
fault.
in moral games where it's like do the decent human thing or be an asshole for no reason.
I
That drives me.
love being an asshole in the superhero game, the one that was a launch title on PS4.
Infamous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
At least that had some gameplay hooks though.
Yeah, in that I played it as an asshole 100%, and it was really, really fun.
Yeah, it's just like even this you don't really get the opportunity because like there was one thing where you get the option to steal like a ship, like a model ship, and your options were Sarah got to say stealing is bad or okay. And I was just like, is that it? Is that all the fucking nuance we have? Like I don't want to hear an adult woman say the word stealing is bad, you know, like fuck off,
Well,
game.
how will you know otherwise? Yeah.
It's like it's the most like it is black or white. There is no nuance to the whole thing.
It's the same writer as Mass Effect 3, and he was an assistant writer on Mass Effect 2, and the actual writer left between 2 and 3, and I always felt that people don't realise how weak of a writer that guy is, because I remember always like hearing the first big speech he gave in Mass Effect 3 and just being like straight away, this writing's fucked, like this is not good, and I think that seems to be holding true to this game.
Completely. And it's just like not making bespoke moments. You find the Sari ship, so it's all the Saris are coming home to the Nexus ship. So you'd think there'd be a parade or something interesting. And you just get this thing where Director Tan gets up on like one of those copy-pasted boxes and is like, yes, the Sari are here, and here is our hero, Ryder. And she just steps up in the box. Like, everyone's walking by. Like, there is nothing to make that a scene. Like,
Yeah.
there's no direction. There's no shots. It's just, I guess we need to make a comment about them being here now.
Yeah. I always remember, like, the idea of having, like, little bespoke moments like that, I think that's one of the most underrated things in games. I remember there's an old game, Legend of the Mystical Ninja, which I absolutely adore.
Our boy Goemon.
Our boy Goemon. And one of my favourite things in that game is you can go to an inn and rest, just like you can any game. But in each inn, you can go to a deluxe room, a standard room, or a cheap room. And depending on which one you pick, you get this tiny little cutscene, and it's like 3 frames long, and it's Goemon lying in a bed asleep. And if you pick the deluxe one, you're in a lovely room. If you pick the standard one, you're in a kind of normal room. And if pick the shitty one, you're in a shitty room. Then it ends and you get all your health back. And that's so lovely, and it's such a nice little mental break in that game that ever since then, anytime I play any game where there's an inn and they don't represent it like that, I feel incredibly disappointed.
It is kind of a lost moment because like people just respond to that kind of stuff.
And I love stuff like that, and that's the kind of touch it sounds Mass Effect is absolutely missing.
Yeah, it's like you're meant to care about these people in space, but they've given you no opportunity to know or care about them in any real way.
Yeah.
It really sounds like any personal decision in that game was countered by 10 other people that didn't get it and was cast aside, and so it's the most like vanilla thing ever.
Do you get the feeling
So
it was like
vanilla.
focus tested much?
Not even. I feel like it's just
They just didn't care.
they didn't care. I feel like really bad for people who were on that staff who cared and were just like, oh, we could do a cool scene for this, and they were like, have you those elements made? No, but I could make these bespoke elements. Like there's a bazaar where it's like meant to be like kind of shady and shit, and like that's like the best moments in Star Wars are like seeing the weird like people that hang around bazaars, and it's like
Yeah.
this is just
that,
like,
that
it's-
weird creature is on screen for 2 seconds.
yeah, and like just that enough can sell a whole scene.
Absolutely.
This is just nothing. It's just like, oh, we've painted it a bit brown.
Whenever I think of like the bar scene from Star Wars, all I can think about is like all the fucking weird incidental characters.
For me, it's always that blue elephant in Return of the Jedi, who I recently learned they're not his arms, they're his feet, and he's just like, he's a 2-legged blue elephant that's playing with his feet on a keyboard, and he's tiny.
It's really good.
That's really
Yeah,
cool.
it's so cute.
I played like... sorry, Niamh, are you...
That's it. I'm going to finish it, but like I am now a very sad Mass Effect fan.
I'm really looking forward to hearing how that game ends.
I heard the last 2 hours are the best game, like part of the game. but-
Okay, that's something.
I'm sure there's a good set piece at the end.
Yeah, but getting fucking 60 hours of bullshit to get there, I'm
Yeah,
not really.
that sucks.
Yeah, that's not good.
I played a little more Nier Automata, and I'm a little reluctant to get into the game because I feel like when I get to Nier Automata, it's going to be go and just like straight path to the end. So I'm only like 2.5 hours in, but already that game has been opening up in ways that are very interesting. It's really hard. It's quite hard to explain, but there's stuff like there's weird callbacks to the first games in ways I wasn't expecting. There's a part where like you go out into a desert and you see robots, and the robots are all wearing clothes that relate to the first game in a way, and I was just like, what the fuck is, wait a minute.
That's cool.
And it's really interesting. Like I see where it's going. I know that I know at least one big reveal in that game, but it's also quite a simple reveal, and from what I've heard, the whole just keeps going and going, so I'm interested to see where it heads. Very much looking forward to it. I got a tweet from someone a while ago saying that I actually gave away kind of a biggish moment in that game in one of the previous podcasts, and I didn't know what he was talking about, but then I thought about it and it turns out I actually did. And so
You were only really talking about the old Nier.
I was, but something I thought was in the old Nier is actually a reveal from this Nier.
Oh, okay.
So if anyone picked up on that, I'm really sorry about that. I the only reason I said it was because I really thought that was kind of a known quantity, because I kind of put 2 and 2 together from the old Nier and stuff like that. But yeah, I know it's kind of odd apologizing for a spoiler considering the video I put out last week, but I just, I wouldn't intentionally want to, take away from someone's enjoyment like that. But that game seems really cool. I definitely have yet to go down the rabbit hole, because I'm not at the point where I'm like, this game's amazing. And to be honest with you, I think the combat kind of sucks. I don't think the combat's very good at all.
Keeping the Nier tradition alive.
Yeah, totally. It's very mashy, and I find whenever an enemy's attack is coming, I'm just hammering on dodge, and she'll auto dodge. It's not.
There's no skill or timing to it.
I don't really feel like there is. Now, maybe that will change as I keep going, but yeah, I don't enjoy the combat, and I got some pleasure out of Nier's combat because I love fighting with a big, berserk sword.
Yeah.
But this one, it just feels very mashy.
Does she get weapons that you can cycle in and out? Like you're equipping different
Like you can fight with your bare hands, you can fight with like big 2-handed swords,
Nice.
fight with little katanas, and
I'm kind of okay with that, because I was worried that the Crystal Dynamics... No, who does the...
platinum.
Platinum, yes. I was worried that their combat would be difficult for someone who's not good at their combat. I really like shitty hack and slash games, so I really like the idea of it kind of being...
Yeah.
Janky.
Does this game have parrying in it?
No.
Okay, because you know how
It
platinum...
has witch time.
Okay, so it's got dodging, but it doesn't have countering.
Yeah, but even then, right now, and maybe it's going to open up, right now I feel it's much closer to Destiny Warriors than it is Bayonetta.
Cool.
Yeah,
Love my Muso games.
Yeah.
They're very, very satisfying. Yeah, like I like the One Piece Muso games.
Yeah. I'm hoping it opens up in that regard, but I also know the combat is not why you go to that game, and like shit got real weird there for a while. There's one tiny thing I want to say that I saw. It's just a background detail, so it's not really a spoiler. But if you want to say completely pure on this game, maybe skip ahead 30 seconds. I saw two robots fucking. Just walked out, and they were just there fucking. Like, one was on the ground, and the other was... And, like, when I say robots, these look like tin cans, like, that you'd hang on a Christmas tree. That kind of old school robot.
Sweet.
Does that mean, like, there's, like, do they have, like, are they humans? Have they residual kind of memories? Because why would a robot have a desire to copulate?
That's, I think, what, like, that's,
and
I
then
think, where the game
Nier
is
clothing
going.
and stuff? Maybe those are the Nier characters.
See, that's what I think they might be going, but I also know from the way people talk about it, there's way more to it than that.
Mm-mm.
But I also had a boss fight with just a beautiful naked man. He had long white hair. He was completely naked. And
could you see his dick?
No, there was no dick.
Are they?
What's the point?
Because they're androids. They don't have parts.
But the girl has like a really, really pronounced ass.
Well,
the guy has a pronounced ass too.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
And I mean, Japan.
Yeah. But
To be
they
honest,
don't
I
have
wish she was more
front-end
androgynous.
reproductive
I wish
organs.
she didn't have breasts. Like, that would be interesting. And then they were just like... Because, like, why gender robots?
Part of me is with you. Part of me really likes her.
Well, yeah. Like, I mean...
I can't help it, Niamh.
Close away that part and go into the actual sci-fi narrative part. It makes no sense for, like...
I guess we'll see.
Like, maybe.
Maybe there is something.
I want to get this game next, because I think I'm going to...
Because I know part of the whole android thing is, like, for a long time the androids were meant to blend in with humans. Like, they were meant to be like, you weren't meant to be able to tell that they were androids, so that's part of it.
So that's why they'd have sex characteristics.
But then you also encounter androids who have, like, their human mold has been taken away, so they're just like the cybernetics underneath, and they're really fucked up because sometimes you'll see them, but one of them will still have, like, a sexy ass left, and, like, it not in, like, a sexy way, but just she's been fucked up in a way that her ass didn't get destroyed and everything else did, or that, like, her arm is still there, and it's really like, it has a really horrible feeling to it.
That's cool.
I also downloaded Yakuza 0, but I haven't played it.
Oh, I saw it's on sale, isn't it?
Yeah.
I might get that.
If you want to get it, just watch the trailer, because it's like fucking shitty Japanese metal music and like an old haggard Japanese man saying, "It's not the one who takes a beating that loses, it's the one who gives up." And then it shows like Kiryu. I just realized this, Kiryu's fucking Jotaro. That's that entire game, and I look forward to playing it.
I'm totally into that. I really want to play a good game. I feel like I've been playing games that I haven't loved for a while.
Well, good news is there's plenty to choose from.
Yeah, I really, really want to play Nier as well.
I'll report back.
Cool.
I want to start playing it soon, but it's hard with fucking Persona, and I really want to play Yakuza.
And all this TV.
Yeah. Spoiled for choice.
Yeah, it's tough.
Now, let's say we move on to our Quicktime Events. The NES Mini is discontinued.
Oh, man.
So I've heard a bunch of theories about why this is. I think the most likely one... Well, the most interesting one I've heard is how, like, Nintendo were not making any money off this thing. This was to get people talking about Nintendo. And that sounds kind of crazy, but I had a conversation with my dad where he was like, "John, what's the NES Mini?" And I explained it. Mm-hmm. And then he was like, "Okay, and that's not the same thing as the Switch they have coming out." And it's like, Nintendo have my dad talking about the Switch. Something's working.
Releasing something at Christmas and making it like the Christmas item to get, and then introducing like fake scarcity, like that's like the Furby story all over again. That's like that's what people want for Christmas. It's like a special item. So I think it does get people talking.
And then like I was thinking, then the next story is the SNES Mini, and like I was like, I bet they're discontinuing the NES Mini so that people really get hyped about the SNES Mini. Mm-hmm. I think I might have said the same anyway. And then I thought, shit, I should pre-order a SNES Mini. Like, it's working.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm definitely going to get a SNES Mini.
I'm scared because I don't really care about the NES. The SNES, that's different.
The SNES was part of my childhood, and I would like to have all of those games on a official Nintendo product.
What games do you want to see on the SNES Mini? And don't worry about like Link to the Past or Super Mario, because of course they'll be there.
Okay, well then like Super Mario RPG, or maybe Secret of Evermore, things like that.
I'd much rather Secret of Mana than Secret of Evermore.
Okay, well then you want Mystical Ninja with
Oh,
Goemon.
totally, yeah. That's one of the fucking best games on that system.
I'd like all the Kirby games,
Yeah.
including Dream Course.
I'd like Donkey Kong Country 1, 2, and 3.
I want Yoshi Safari just to have it.
Sure. That'll be on there.
I don't want any sports games. They're going to put fucking sports games on it. I'm going to go past those so fast in the menu. I do not want them.
There's going to be 15 garbage shovelware games. Well, not shovelware, just bad ones. And
Well,
then 15 good
They'll
ones.
have like good Capcom platformers, so it'll be like Aladdin and Mickey Mouse.
Oh man,
I love
that Mickey Mouse on the SNES was
yeah,
amazing.
like they're really, really good games.
Mickey's Magical Quest.
Yeah.
That's such an interesting game. If people like platformers, they should check that out. It's beautiful.
I don't want Bubsy.
No,
No.
but what if he can make a comeback?
Fuck him. He can go fuck himself. Jesus. I'm trying to think of weird ones. I'd like Zombies Ate My Neighbors
Oh, yeah.
or Pocky and Rocky, which is
Yeah, those are great games.
yeah.
Zombies Ate My Neighbors, especially. That's a really really.
I'm
cool
sure
game.
it'll have Final Fantasy VI, which is cool.
Oh man, that'd be such a good get. There's so many you could choose. There's this game I've never heard anyone talk about it ever. I think it might have been a Japanese-only SNES title called Behemoth Lagoon. And it's this super involved, in-depth RPG with dating mechanics and, like, Pokemon dragons. But you're a warrior, and you have a dragon who fights alongside you, and it's like it's like a Disgaea game. And that's never going to be on there, but long shot, that's what I'd like. I'd like Earthbound as well, definitely.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
So you guys are going to pre-order this
Oh yeah,
straight
no,
away?
no. Like they could announce it and not announce any game, like what games are on it, and I'd pre-order it.
I'd like the convenience of it.
And I know, like, that's me falling into their corporate trap, but they got me.
The build quality of these things is shit. I have a NES Mini, like, pure luck.
You do, but you also care about build quality.
Yeah. Like, once I took it out and I felt like the painting, the spray painting is, like, bad on it. Like, it's just, like, it feels light. I was just like, this is not a nice piece of technology. It's just a little box.
I think this could be a garbage piece of technology, but it's reaching deep down into me, and I'm just like, I need it.
Man. Yeah, no, I care about build quality a lot, and those controllers drove me nuts.
For me, I'd like to have it at work and have an extra monitor, and it's just there at my desk for lunchtime, and it's like a conversation starter.
That's a decent use for it, but I don't want anyone to talk to me.
I'm so lonely. I want everyone to talk to me. Please email askletsfightaboss@gmail.com.
AskLet'sFightAboss@gmail.com. How about asking Bryan how he's doing?
Yeah, Brian's lonely. Talk to Brian. Or maybe at me in that Discord chat. Please, I'm lonely.
There's other stuff, like other reasons that I heard for the NES discontinuing as well. Was one of them like they only got limited license for the Final Fantasy game that was on it?
Could be.
Could be. I think it's because it was the plan. That was it. They said their statement was like it was only a short-term thing anyway, and it would have drummed up like excitement with the fake scarcity for the Switch and for Nintendo as a thing.
Yeah.
The chip inside it is the same chip inside the SNES one, so they've just ordered them in bulk, so now they can, like, that chip can emulate 3DS games, so they can emulate pretty far up.
Do you think we'll get a 3DS Mini? Really tiny little 3DS.
Sure. 3D's back, everyone.
Like
They put stuff on TV, I think people would be like, okay.
Here's the thing. If this thing was readily available, if you could walk into a shop and buy it, we absolutely would not be talking about it. And I wouldn't get one.
Because I know Sega did one with their Mega Drive, and it's quite easy to get, but there was no kind of like hype about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was like all ready to trade mine in, and then it was discontinued, and I like collecting stuff, like figures and stuff, so I was like, oh cool, it's a collector's item now. I'm happy I own it now.
Yeah.
Like, but while it was available, I was like, I hate this thing.
But you own it and we don't, and that doesn't make any sense, but you should hang on to that.
I'm just going to get a hammer and smash it and record it instead. I'd never do that. I'm into preserving toys as collectibles.
It belongs in a museum.
Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite announced for September 19th.
What do you think of this? You're the fighting guy.
So that's really early. That's really, really, really early. The more I see of this game, the more it seems like a Marvel Cinematic Universe fighting game. And that has me...
That's all it is.
Not very excited. I could still buy this game, but I mean... I really don't like the art style. I think the character models look just...
The character models look like absolute shit. There's no art direction on them.
But
They look ugly.
like, the thing is, they don't look badly done. They just
I think they look badly done.
Uninspired.
Completely like that. I don't think there's anything technically going wrong. There's Captain America. That's what he looks like, you know. And then like the lighting on them is really plain and just...
There's no stylization. Like, I think one of the best thing about fighting games, whether you play them well or not, is you love going through the character roster and looking at those cool silhouettes, those cool designs and stuff.
I think aesthetic for fighting games is even more important than it usually is. Like, it is meant to bring you into a world and a type of characters. And I'm bored. Like, have you seen Ryu's character model? Because, like, even, say, with the Marvel guys, they're obviously getting quite a lot of attention. Like, and, you know, Captain America is very detailed. I don't think he looks good, but he's very detailed. Ryu is just the most... Oh, that's the fucking guy with the headband? Okay, cool. I'll do something up after lunch. It looks just bad. And, like, it's cool to see Strider's in it. Strider is a great character. But... nothing about this is getting me excited. And even then, they're changing a lot of the command inputs. Have you guys heard about this?
No.
So a Dragon Punch is now done with down punch, as opposed to forward down. It's as opposed to forward down forward punch. And that to me says that, like, you know, they're really trying to make this game accessible, which I really respect. I think fighting games could stand to be more accessible, but I also think, like, it's such a high when you master the Dragon Punch, because it's a hard, like, initially it's a very difficult move to do, and then you do it and you're like, oh my god, that felt amazing, and then you keep practicing it, and then you do it on someone who's jumping in at you and you counter them, and that feels amazing. And then the next step is you do it without even thinking about it, and that feels amazing. But to lose that, I think there's a real fundamental misunderstanding of what makes a good fighting game, and that's really disappointing to me. And this game is doing very, very little for me. I'm not concerned about it because it's going to do fucking gangbusters. It's going to sell to the fighting game community, and it's going to sell to Marvel people. It's
coming out a little after Tekken 7. I hope Tekken 7 eats it alive.
A fighting game I'm really pumped for. Like, God, I've been listening to the soundtrack of that, and it's unbelievable.
So good.
So good.
I think one of the first videos we should do is us fighting each other in Tekken, because we keep threatening it.
I don't want to do that to you, because I feel like that's going to be one of the most, like, just crushing, humiliating moments in your life, and the fact that it would just exist on the internet forever, I think, is really, like, you know, even, like, I regularly wish bad things on you. You know I do. You know, like, you know I'm not I'm not a Niamh fan, we'll say.
I wake up and I can feel it. I can feel you thinking.
Yeah, sometimes it just gets so fucking intense.
Let's just say John owns a voodoo doll.
Yeah, but even then, like, what I'm going to put you through in Tekken 7, I would not wish that on anyone. And, like, I see it as something you're inflicting on yourself. Like, you're running out into traffic.
I think we played Tekken 5 together, and when I countered all your moves with Lee, the look on your face was pure shock and rage, and that was so beautiful to me. I still feed off that memory. I just still picture
I don't think that memory happened. I remember you clutching the controller and screaming again.
Well, but let's just see how we get on.
Yeah.
After the summer.
If you lose, you're drawing me or Mika fan art.
Fine.
I'm gonna get real good as Lucky Chloe and beat you.
No one's gonna beat me. Like, it's so ridiculous.
Lucky Chloe's the best character in that.
Did you see the London qualifiers? There was a Dublin round, and there was a really great match with Lucky Chloe and I can't remember who it was. I think it was Lee, but Sliver Health's Lucky Chloe player pulled it off.
Oh wow!
Yeah, great match to watch.
That match did the rounds, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's some great Tekken 7 matches going up online now. It's really great.
I think that game's going to be cool. I'm excited to see it.
So Tekken 7 is cool. Marvel vs. Capcom 4 is it sucks. It's lame.
It's not even Marvel 4. It's Marvel Infinite.
Well, it's going to be infinitely going down the toilet forever into the poo.
I bet it'll do really well. I'm just really, I'm de-hyped for it. Like, I think about that game and I'm like, oh shit, am I going to have to buy that? Because it's a fighting game.
No,
like, I buy every fighting game.
You don't have to buy it.
I need them. Have you ever seen my PlayStation 2 collection? It's like 40 games and 33 of them are fighting games. It's beautiful. King of Fighters 1999, guys.
All right.
Diva coming to Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah, what's this?
So Heroes of the Storm is going through a bit of an overhaul. They really want people to play it.
More like a Overwatch.
Yeah, they're really trying to get Overwatch players to do it.
I'm so sorry, everyone.
It's going to have the release of Genji in it. I think it already has Lucio and Zarya. And if
I think it's Tracer. I think it's Farah.
Farah,
yeah.
I don't think so, because she can fly, and it's a MOBA. That wouldn't make sense.
There's
anyway,
loads of flying characters in MOBAs. It's just fucking...
That's true.
There's like big flying eels in Dota.
Fair enough. Basically, I don't know who the fuck's in it, apart from Genji. And coming eventually is Diva. But the catch with this is Genji had a skin, his cool Oni mask skin for Overwatch, but the only way you could get it was playing in this event for Heroes of the Storm. So same with the Diva. It's Officer Diva, so she's dressed as a Korean officer. It's really cute.
I imagine people would be super into that.
Yeah, and her mech's little like police car lights on top. It's like,
oh shit.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Uh-oh.
But the only way for you to get that is to download Heroes of the Storm, play 5 games with a friend, and you'll unlock it.
So you gotta put the needle in your veins.
Yeah. They're really hoping to get those millions of Overwatch players into Heroes of the Storm. And as one of those Overwatch players, nah.
I've played a bit of Heroes of the Storm. I've actually downloaded the new one because I got a new PC recently and I want to play it with my cousin. But that's a good game.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's cool. It's well designed. Characters are fun. I'm gonna play a bit.
Yeah, I'm just not a MOBA person.
Have you ever played one?
Yeah, I played a little of Dota. Not my thing.
I could feel it. I was like I never got into it in any way. Like I never played against bots, but I was like, this is interesting. I'll report back.
Cool.
Microsoft planning digital refunds.
This is cool.
Yeah, they'll be the first console who'll do it if it goes through.
Because Steam do it already, don't they?
Yeah, so it's in the pilot testing mode for Xbox and Windows Insider programs right now. So it is going to happen. It's just in testing. Here is the details. Games and apps are eligible for self-service refunds within 14 days of purchase if you've less than 2 hours of playtime across all accounts. DLC and season passes and add-ons are not eligible for self-service refunds, which I think makes perfect sense. Like,
yeah, 2 hours is enough to know.
The gamer app must be downloaded and launched before requesting a refund, so it's like you have to try it and know you don't like it. You must wait at least 1 day after the gamer app's release before requesting a self-service refund. Certain Windows 10 apps may not be eligible, and Microsoft reserves the right to block access for users who abuse the self-service refund system.
Yeah.
So this is only a good thing.
Yeah,
like,
there's no downside.
There's just been games I've downloaded on PS4 that I was like, oh, I kind of hate this.
It'd be cool if you could have get rid of the Division,
Yeah, I downloaded one for the Nintendo DS. I talked about it before, the Tokyo Rumble one, and God, I wish I could have got my money back on that.
Mm-hmm.
Which game is that?
It was River City Ransom Tokyo Rumble.
Oh, yeah.
Not to be confused with River City Ransom Tokyo Rampage or something. River City, because there's one on 3DS and it's really not good. It's a bad game. And then there's one on Steam that looks genuinely fucking awesome. And they're coming from good to the different developers. But yeah, this is cool. It's really cool.
I hope Sony do something about this as well.
Yeah, they'll have to respond.
I kind of see it as just an inevitability. Like, there's the reasons that these things are happening is because consumer rights laws are getting ignored. I mean, this isn't anything good at Microsoft's heart. Like, fair play to them for doing it, but this is keeping them out of murky legal water that they don't want to be in. And then finally, this is just a rumor about Bayonetta 3.
Cool.
Have you guys seen where this is coming from?
Nope.
No.
Platinum have been uploading a bunch of clips to their YouTube channel, and it's scenes from Bayonetta 1 where a character says something and the scenes play 3 times.
Oh shit.
They're clues.
Yeah.
Platinum have nothing planned right now because Scalebound has been cancelled. Nintendo have a new system. It all makes sense.
Do you think it will be Nintendo again?
Yeah.
Very smart move on Nintendo if that's the case. Bayonetta 2 is one of my favourite games ever, like, of all time. I think that game is fucking astounding. I'd be delighted to see a Bayonetta 2. I hope in Bayonetta 3 you cancel Scalebound.
It'd be cool if you went to like Microsoft's office as Bayo and you just kicked the guy in the face.
I'd be so happy.
What happens if Bayonetta 3 is Microsoft funded and it's going to be a Scorpio exclusive?
Then I'm getting a Scorpio.
Because, like, I mean, that happened in the Wii. They had to fund it.
I'd have no fucking choice. Bayonetta's like waifu prime.
I don't know if I'd do that. I really, really don't want an Xbox One ever.
I know, but
I don't want one.
Waifu Prime, Brian.
I'll just watch you, or I'll borrow your Xbox One. I'll just cry and you'll lend it to me afterwards.
I'll be crying buying that thing, and then... Although, maybe you can play it on PC. I don't know.
Yeah, Windows 10.
Yeah. But, yeah, like, I love Bayonetta. I really love Bayonetta, and I'd be so... Like, even if it was on Xbox, which would fucking suck, and I don't think that's the case, because I don't think Platinum and Microsoft... I don't think that went very well.
Yeah, with Scalebound.
Yeah.
Well, we've got E3 in, 6 weeks? It's pretty soon.
Brian, would you mind telling the story about Hideki Kamiya and Gaijin Goomba?
Okay, my girlfriend told me this story the other day. Famous YouTuber Gaijin Goomba. I'm sure people listen to this podcast would know who Gaijin Goomba is. If you don't, maybe watch one of his videos. I've never watched one of his videos.
Okay, so I just want to say, I've met Gaijin Goomba. Perfectly nice fella.
Okay, he made a Bayonetta video, just like, explaining, his thoughts on Bayonetta and kind of defending it, because it's kind of a controversial game. But he linked it to Hideki Kamiya on Twitter, and Hideki Kamiya replied to him going in English, saying, "I don't need you to say anything about my game. I know what I think about it." And he replied back to him in Japanese, but it was like broken Japanese, and Hideki Kamiya blocked him.
Isn't that the... I saw the screen cap of that tweet, and it's like, now my timeline is immaculate.
That's what he said.
It's so brilliant.
Hideki Kamiya is amazing.
He's such a cool guy. I really, really like the whole thing about Bayonetta, because he wears glasses, and he wears really, really, really cool glasses, like super cool designer glasses. But every character in Bayonetta wears glasses.
There's a really good moment from the making of Bayonetta where it's like, and then they asked Kamiya-san to take the glasses off Bayonetta, but instead of doing that, he proceeded to put glasses on every character in the game.
It's true, they do.
Hideki Kamiya has one very simple rule if you want to ask him a question on Twitter. You have to go back through his entire timeline and make sure that no one else has asked him that question. And if you make a mistake, he will immediately block you.
Cool.
John, I really, really think you should tweet at him.
Sure, I'll tweet at him. Hey, it's your boy.
Hey, you probably see my videos, but just, touch and base.
Oh yeah, I bet Hideki Kamiya was all over that spoiler video. Okay, so we're going to move on, and I take no pleasure in bringing up this next topic. This is actually a bit of a downer, and I'm sorry if this is something that's like maybe a little hard for people to hear, and I really wish this was a bit, but it's not. There was a anime/gaming convention in Ireland. How long ago would you guys say?
This was August 2015.
Yeah.
So almost 2 years ago.
Yeah. And we wanted to bring it up because this is something we actually talked about on the podcast, and this was kind of in the dark ages, in the lost episodes. Me and Niamh were selling at it, and we thought the whole weekend there was like a very odd vibe to the con, and there was like a report that someone had been assaulted and all this kind of stuff. And this was Arcade Con. If I'm sure our Irish listeners will probably be familiar with that.
And there were Gardaí at the scene.
Yeah, it was very strange, very odd vibe. And what turns out is that a girl was she was sexually assaulted. She was raped at this con. And what's scary about that is this actually happened maybe 20 or 30 meters away from it. It was behind a locked door, and it's really awful to hear about. And like, I know people come to this podcast and like we talk about games and we talk about funny things, and this is a really awful thing, but I guess the reason we want to mention it is because like it's such a shocking thing, and like it does make you realize that like you always have to be careful with this stuff. And we really love our listeners, we love you guys, and I think it's important to always be safe at this kind of thing. And like if something that terrible can happen at a con, I think that is like, it's a really horrible but good thing to keep in mind, that this stuff happens, and it's not just a statistic you see on the internet. It's not just something that like gets thrown in like online discourse videos, and that lesson is worth taking away from it.
Yeah, it's like it was really upsetting. If there was one thing to come out of it, the Irish con scene has been so supportive and so like rightly horrified and disgusted about this happening, and have really rallied around the girl. She was really brave, and she waived her right to anonymity so she could name and shame him.
What a fucking trooper.
Yeah.
What an absolutely amazing person.
He's got a bunch of names now.
Yeah, he had like 3 Facebook pages and stuff, but it was Keith Hare, also goes by Marcus Cuttle, or Keith Cuttle.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to say his name because that was what she wanted to do, was to get his name out there, because like he is a violent rapist and she did waive her right to do this.
And like, you know, I don't feel a need to go into like the details of it, but it was horrible. Like reading the report of it was just really sickening. I think it's so hard because I always feel like conventions should be safe spaces. They should be spaces where like just anyone can go and they can have a good time, and like you can dress whatever the fuck you want, you can even act however you want, and people aren't going to really, well, you know, within reason, people aren't going to really judge you, and there's no danger there. Like that's what I always feel about conventions. You can just be yourself, and for something like this to happen is so against the spirit of that stuff. And I think it was awful, and like, you know, absolute heart goes out to that girl and anyone who's been a victim of that stuff, because it was really devastating to hear, and I really hope she's doing okay.
Yeah.
And same to, you know, anyone who's ever had to suffer something similar.
So if you're at a con and you ever feel safe, try like find someone to talk to, go to Artist Alley, ask one of the artists there or anything. Like, people will support you and help you.
Yeah.
They're well used to handling
weirdos
all day.
Selling in Artist Alley, we have to deal with creepy weirdos every single day.
You have to have a tough resolve, and they will understand if someone is like following you.
Yeah.
I don't think we'd have anything more to say about it than that. You know, I know it's a shitty thing to have to talk about, and it's a shitty thing to hear, but like, just want people to be safe, and like, just want people to be careful with this stuff, because it really made it real for me, you know, and like, the thought that could have been someone I know or anything was just, it's really horrifying. So there is no good way to segue out of that, so I'm just going to move on, and we're going to move into some emails. And we are back to the old email sound effect. This has actually been tormenting me for weeks, because we had a sound effect for the final form, and now the final form isn't a thing anymore. So then we had some music, and that wasn't working. Then we moved to a No More Heroes sound effect, and that wasn't working. But now we're just going back to the Streets of Rage music, and I am delighted. It sounded great, I assume. The first question is from Graydon Long, and this is a question about inspiration. Hey, Let's Fight a Boss. I'm a big fan from New York. I'm involved in the arts and feeling kind of stagnant in my work right now, just losing motivation. And I got to asking myself, what do I find inspiring? And I was curious what you all find inspires you and keeps you going. Do you have something that's your go-to to get excited about art? It can be anything from music, anime, or just walking in nature. But I was curious. Keep up the good work, Graydon. That is an awesome question. Thank you so much, Graydon. I'd be curious to hear what's your guys' thoughts on this.
At the moment, because of the time of the year, all the CalArts grad films are out. So I've been watching that Vimeo playlist, and you get super fucking jealous, and you're like, I could make something better.
Yeah, those pieces of shit.
Yeah, well, they pay 35 grand a year.
So it'd want to be pretty good.
Yeah, otherwise mom and dad will fucking kill you. I find them, like for me, it's always like, not being like directly jealous, but just being like spurred on to make something of your own because you see the standard that's out there.
Yeah, totally. I find a lot, whenever like I feel really stagnant about art, and this is, I guess, to be more about drawing than like making videos or anything, but going back to the things that got you excited about art in the first place. And like, I think a lot of that's going to be stuff that you consumed as a teenager, because like as a kid you just like stuff, but as a teenager you start wanting to really make stuff. And like, there's a certain style of like Super Nintendo cutscene that I just love, like the kind of pixel art sort of stuff, because I downloaded a ton of emulators and ROMs when I was a teenager, and seeing that stuff really gets me. So does like late 90s, early 2000s fighting games. I think fighting games went through like such an amazing like evolution in terms of style and attitude and character, and that stuff is like so cool. So I would definitely like go back to what made you want to create art in the first place. What about you, Niamh?
I agree with that. It's like going back to like what made you passionate. Why did you want to draw in the first place? Go look at that. Like, I've been listening to a lot of Tekken stuff, and I was like, I'm just going to draw my favorite Tekken characters. And even as a warm-up, then that can warm you up into getting into drawing something maybe a bit more boring, or a bit more like, I have to do this for work reasons, or I want to finish this background, but oh god, it's so boring. But drawing something from something you love can really power you up. But I also find not looking at stuff directly related to what you're doing at all. Like, if I'm not feeling inspired, I like to watch a movie. Like, it's nothing to do with drawing, but I can appreciate that on that level. And I was just like, and try and translate that, stuff, or like watch a director's take. Like, if you go to any Del Toro movie, he's like behind the scenes stuff, and he's just talking about being creative. Just listening to someone talk about creativity, I find is such a good drive for me personally, because I think I love the concept and beauty of making art, and I don't care what art it is. I don't care if it's country music or film or anything, or like sculpture. I think it's just the feeling behind it can get me inspired. So I really I go to Mandarake a lot, which is a secondhand toy shop, and I like going to the tin toy and pre-toy era and look at what they did with like very limited stuff, and it's how they can create these things that were enjoyed by children, and isn't that really inspiring? And then I want to watch Zodiac because that has such cool shot direction. So I think looking outside the thing you're directly doing and see what inspires other people in their fields, you can directly relate that back to your work then. And that kind of, it stops the kind of, I guess, jealousy thing. So if you're working on a big illustration and you're looking at illustrators you admire, and you're like, I want to be able to draw like that, or I want to do stuff like to that level, it can kind of get you down as well as inspire you, because you're like, well, I'm not achieving that level of stuff.
Yeah, I find it's a very fine line to walk.
So
that's true. The jealousy thing, you have to watch over that.
Yeah.
So like then going over, and that could just make you not want to do it, and like, what's the fucking point? Someone else is going to do something better version of this.
Yeah.
So going outside of that field and then being like, look at this very small ceramic of a cat. Isn't that beautiful? Yeah. Like, that can kind of get me going.
And even then, I think like trying to take a little pride in your work can go a long way as well, because like, you're never going to be able to draw like that other person, and you will certainly never be able to draw like they do better than they do, but that doesn't mean your stuff is worthless.
Oh no, like I don't think you should ever think about other people in terms of doing things. Like 100 people could do a drawing of Sailor Moon, but only you will have your interpretation and your way of drawing Sailor Moon.
Yeah, and like chances are, if you've been doing it for any length of time, there is probably some aspect of Sailor Moon you will bring out a little better than everyone else. And it might not be the prettiest drawing, it might not be the most anatomically correct, but everyone has their own personality. And like, my favorite art is always the stuff where you can see the personality of the person in it. And it can be the shittiest drawing, but if I see some personality in there, like, that will sell it for me.
I read like photography as well, and nature photography. Like looking at animals is really inspiring sometimes.
I don't find that inspiring, but I find going to like a zoo crazy inspiring. Like seeing animals move is
trapped behind cages.
It's that rage.
Let me out.
I also think, and this is kind of, I think sometimes I'll occasionally get messages from people like asking, I'm kind of bored of video games / anime / whatever, and like, how do I get excited again? And I think that can kind of happen with art too. And I always think a good piece of advice is go try something you've never done before. Find a series you've never watched, a series you've never played that maybe you like the look of, but maybe is a bit outside your comfort zone. Go there, and that will kind of like wake up your taste buds a little bit again, So yeah, that'd be that.
That's some good advice.
Yeah. I'd be super great, and I'd be super curious to see what kind of work you do.
Yeah.
I'd love to see that stuff.
We're all artists here, so you guys feel free to link us.
Oh man, I'd love seeing people's blogs.
Yeah.
Like, even if you don't think you're good, like, trust me, I'm not good, so
I'd
love
no
to see it.
There's no one's good.
Niamh, you've seen my stuff, come on.
No, but it's like an interpretation. Like art is like, I hate this like level of like, what is good? What appeals to someone?
But that's because you're the best artist out of the three of us.
Yeah, like by far.
But like,
Niamh's an amazing artist, everyone. If you have not seen her stuff, she's fucking incredible.
Yeah, her draftsman skills are insane.
Yeah. She's like, like the main character of an anime where a bad guy's like, Bakamono. That's Niamh artistically.
Yeah.
Thank you. But I also, like, it's nice to hear you guys say that, but, like, I feel like shit about my art as much as anyone else do.
I know you do.
You know?
I've seen you go through that cycle so many times, and I don't mean this in a mean way, but that makes me feel better about my stuff, because if you think you're shit, maybe I'm not as shit as I think I am, if that makes sense.
It's just like, but that's what I'm trying to say, is like, I think one of the hardest things about art is just creating it and putting it out there and trying to, and not be like, this
is much work promoting it.
But not even promoting it. It's just like, this one piece isn't a representation of everything I can do.
Yeah.
It's just this piece for now, and I will create something again and again and again and again, and that will just build up experience, and I'll get better. And it's more about letting yourself be vulnerable in it. Like, letting yourself put something out that you aren't happy in with.
I think there's a lot to be said for giving yourself the chance to fuck up.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, one of the things with videos I do is, like, you know, my main series is Why You Should Watch. I can make a good Why You Should Watch video now. I can make a video called Why You Should Watch about a series that I like, and everyone will like that video. It will work. You know, I know that now. And that's exactly why I try and do things like the spoiler video. You know, that's exactly why I try and do things that, like, are not the kind of videos I'm used to. My next video is going to be a look at the business situation of Shonen Jump, and trying to figure out how to make that entertaining was so stimulating in a way. And maybe people won't like that video. Like, I'm not sure. I need to edit it down about 1,000 words, and, like, there's a bunch of shit going wrong with it, but I feel the thrill of not knowing whether it's going to work out or not. And that's inspiring in itself, you know?
Yeah, I think that, like, the search for that as well, and just letting yourself, just don't worry so much. I really like making model kits now, like Gundams and stuff. And it was also wanting to work in 3D, but not knowing if I could. And that kind of, like, it's being creative, but there's less stress to it nearly, you know? Like, Bryan likes to make model kits as well, so it's...
I'd like following instructions sometimes.
Yeah, there's
and
something...
And at the end there's a physical reward for your work.
Yeah.
It's like, there's just... Be open to every other creative avenue there is out there. Like, maybe if you think you like photography, go and start taking some photos. Maybe you'll, like, fucking hate it, but it's fun to try and see through the eyes of someone else who's a different type of creator than you.
Yeah, and trying a new medium will always teach you a lot about your chosen medium. Like, you can relate stuff back. Like, I learned stuff about drawing from like martial arts, from professional wrestling, and, like, it's weird because the same issues I have drawing I had in wrestling and I had in martial arts, because I was always really stiff in those things, and I'm also really stiff in drawing, and seeing that same problem in 3 different areas was fascinating.
Same, like, absolutely the same. Like I played piano, and, like, I did kickboxing, and it was like this inability to let go, the self-policing, just like, I can't go with the flow. And I think that's why I like dance a lot, because it's seeing someone just being able to move and not, like, their brain being like, okay, you put your foot here and then you put your other one here, like, and not letting your thoughts trip you up.
Yeah. Great question.
Yeah.
Really could talk about that all day, but we're going to move on. Niamh, do you have a question picked out?
I do. Hey, let's fight a bosscast.
This is from Lyris.
Question. What is something that hasn't come to the West that you would like to? This can be anything. Games, TV, weird card games that make no sense.
There's a bunch of dumbass Japanese fighting games I really would love to see come to the West. I'm trying to
For me, I'd love to see cute-em-ups, but on mobile devices.
What are cute-em-ups?
Shoot-em-ups that are cute.
Did not even know they were a thing.
So, like,
yeah,
Parodius.
they're like a subgenre. It's like your little witch and you're firing hearts at, like,
So,
a
like,
giant
Toho
pair of
kind of?
lips.
No, Toho's a shoot-em-up.
Okay, so that isn't even a cute-em-up?
That's probably my answer. There's
No.
Toho 8 Imperishable Night. That's one of my favourite games ever. What I
Okay.
wouldn't give to have a copy of that on my PS4.
That'd be so good. Like, because there are Toho games on the PS4, but they're Dojin fan games, and they're shite. Like, I'm sure someone's like, no, this one's actually good, but they're not. They're
Come on, dude.
yeah. Like the actual Zun Toho games, to have them on a dedicated games console with a nice controller would be really cool. So yeah, like, very, very niche shoot 'em ups and cute 'em ups. Like, I love cute 'em ups. Like, they're so funny.
Yeah.
There is actually one of them on the SNES as well, Parodius for the SNES. I want that on the SNES Mini.
There's a Sega Saturn shoot 'em up, and I don't know how to describe it. It's not a cute 'em up. It's definitely not a shoot 'em up, but you're like a naked man flexing, and you can like shoot other naked men at like your enemies. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. I'd love to see that.
That's my answer too. I want to see that.
Yeah, that sounds cool. Like Techromancer 2. There's a
Techromancer 2?
No, but...
Okay, yeah.
I'm just trying to... No, this has to be stuff. Like, I love Yokai Watch. I thought the Yokai Watch in the West, breaking the West, it did not break the West the way it broke Japan.
I'd really like manga, like Worst and Crows, like that kind of Yankee Boy stuff to get an anime over here. Like, that would be amazing. I think even an adaptation of the movies, like the Crows Zero movies, would be cool.
Totally.
Yeah.
Mother 3, like never.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of an obvious one. But...
It might come out in this. Well, let's just see what they do with E3 this year.
Legend of Goemon. There's, that's one of my favorite games ever. Legend of Goemon for the SNES, and there's Legend of Goemon 2, 3, and 4 also for the SNES. And they exist, they're untranslated, and what I've played of those games, they're fucking magical, but I can never experience the story in them, and I love the story in those games.
How about that JoJo Part 5 PS2 game?
I think that might have got a limited American release.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Wonder what that game is like.
I don't know. I remember watching it on a demo disc when I was little and being like, what the fuck is this? Because it had the bit where Bruno licks Giorno. And I was
cool.
like, oh my god, that girl just licked that boy.
I've never read Part 5, but I love Bruno.
Part 5? You'd love Part 5.
Yeah.
I know. I'm just waiting for the scanlation to finish properly.
Yeah,
That guy is taking his time. But I will. I will before the anime of Part 5 starts out. John, how come you haven't made a why you should watch Part 5? Part 6, 7... Why haven't you made Part 8?
Someone asked me that on Twitter, like yesterday. They were like, dude, where's Part 4? And I was like, December 23rd, 2017. And then he was like, why? And then he was like, listen, if I make Part 4, how long will you have to wait till Part 5? And he was like, you know what? Fair enough. I really appreciated that.
Oh yeah, logic.
I'm going to make One Piece as well, everyone. Calm down.
Yeah, and he's going to make...
I'm going to make everything you want. Any anime you want, I'll talk about it at some point. You just gotta chill a little. He's
gonna make a video called "Why You Have Already Watched Attack on Titan," because
that'd be pretty clever.
You already have.
Yeah.
Then there's my email, which is about cons. But yeah, okay, let's just switch gears.
Fresh slate.
Yeah, okay. This is from Albert. I really like this question. This summer, I will be studying abroad in Germany, and was pleasantly surprised to discover that there will be 2 anime conventions, Animagic and Konichi, that will be happening during my stay. I have only been to cons in the US and was wondering what to expect from cons in Europe and how they might be different from cons here. In addition, currently I don't speak a single word of German, so do you think the language barrier will be a problem if I attend either of these cons? Okay, go to those cons. Like, it'll be fun.
Yeah, totally.
Germany is a very, very efficient, well-run country.
I love Germany.
Yeah, I'd say the con scene there is there's probably very, very little bullshit.
I bet there will be amazing cosplay.
Yes,
yeah.
The Germans know how to make shit.
They do. They're industrious, hardworking people.
And then the Russian cosplayers will probably come over.
Oh yeah, and they're
the best cosplayers.
Yeah, they're huge. I've never been to a German con, but I have been to Japan Expo in Paris, France, and my French is very, very bad, and I got on fine. There was no language barrier.
Oh, cool.
So I'm going to talk about Japan Expo because I've never told you guys about Japan Expo.
No.
I went to Paris to study at Gobelin École d'Image, and when I was there on the first day, there was Japan Expo, and so I got off my plane and I went to an anime convention. And I had a big giant suitcase and they had to put it in storage. And I just walked around an anime con for like 6 hours. And it was really, really cool because half of it was like Japanese anime stuff, but then they had loads of Ankama, Wakfu stuff, and they had like the coolest art books. And I bought so many art books, but I bought the basic guest pass, and that's where some kind of miscommunication fell, because Gotchi Suda, the guy Suda51 of Grasshopper Manufacturing,
patron saint of the Let's Fight a Boss podcast.
He made No More Heroes. He made Let It Die, John's favorite game ever made. He was at it and he was signing autographs, and I saw him and I was like, I'm gonna get his autograph. And so I queued and it took about 45 minutes, and I got to the top of the queue and I was like, what the fuck do I say to Gotchi Suda? Like, I'm a meter away from him. I brought my sketchbook, so I thought maybe I'd give to draw Travis touchdown. And I get to it, and the guy looks at my badge and goes, no. And I'm like, what? And apparently I had bought the basic pass, and if you paid an extra €5 to get the premium pass, it allowed you to get autographs.
I think I would shit my pants in rage.
And so I didn't know this information until I got to the top of the queue. And if I'd have known at the bottom of the queue, I wouldn't have queued. But Gotchi Suda saw me for a sec and saw me walk away and was like, all right, next. Like, and that's as close as I got to Suda51.
That's devastating. That makes me so sad. I'm so sorry, Bryan.
Yeah, and so that story is called No More Bryans.
Germany's better than France, so you'll probably get on better.
Oh, Germany's way better than France. Like, I'm cool with France and all, but you know France.
Germany's just so easy to get around if you do not have a lick of German. Like, they all speak English so well, and sometimes if you try and use German, they're like, no, stop it, idiot. I'll speak to you in English. And you're like, okay, thanks. So you, like, as an English speaker, you'll have no problem. And the way everything is set out, like in terms of public transport, it's just totally easy to use for anyone who doesn't have German.
Yeah, totally.
John, did you get in trouble in Germany one time about being bowled on a train?
No, we can't. That's not a podcast safe story.
Or how about the one about the German sauna master?
What the fuck?
The German sauna master. Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, the German sauna master.
I can tell this one. I was in Germany before with a bunch of friends, and we decided to go to a German sauna, and so I'm just sitting there, and it's just us. It's just me and Colin, a good friend of mine.
Shout outs to Colin.
And then two of our lady friends, and we're all sitting there. We're chatting. Really nice sauna, and this the door opens, and this big, large, bollock naked German guy steps in, and I was just like, okay. And I was like, you know what, Central Europe, that's okay. And I was a bit like, man, he must feel so awkward, but like, you know, considering he's naked and like all of us there. Door opens again. A bollock naked German couple get in. And I'm just like, oh, what's happening? And this happens about 8 more times, and each time the person is completely naked. Like, just everything hanging out. German people are beautiful, by the way. They're a good-looking race. And
race.
Poor choice of words.
Nationality.
And until finally, the sauna is completely packed, and I'm shoulder to shoulder with naked German people. And at this point, I kind of want out. I'm like, oh, I don't like this. But then the door opens one final time, and this massive German guy gets in. This big, muscled, tattooed, just fucking chunk of just testosterone and aggression gets in. And he pulls off his towel and starts whipping it about the place. And he's doing something to the steam. I don't know what he's doing, but he's doing something like resurfacing the steam. And he looks at me and my friends, and he goes, "Number 1, no flip-flops. Number 2, do not sit on towels." Or no, it was to sit on towels, and we weren't. Number 3, you must be completely naked. And then he looks me directly in the eye, and he just goes, "You broke all the rules. So either remove your garments or vacate." And I was out of there so fucking fast. And it was like, do you ever just get your ass kicked emotionally Like, it's someone beats the fuck out of your feelings, and that was that. I just felt... I have never felt so out of place. Actually, I have a couple of times, but that's... Yeah.
That's a regular occurrence, but yeah.
Me and Rebecca got lost while walking around the Tiergarten, and we turned a corner, and it was the naked sunbathing part that we had to walk through for 20 minutes, just butt naked men lying on the ground, public park. So, like, get used to that. Go around the Tiergarten, that's great.
Yeah.
But I just don't understand, just as a holiday thing, why you and your friend and your two lady friends were like, let's go to a sauna. Like, what is that a normal holiday experience?
I love saunas.
Did you go swimming as well, or was it just sauna?
Yeah, it was like a swimming pool spa place.
Yeah.
I find that so weird.
But, like, did you ever go to a sauna?
No, but like...
Have you ever been in a sauna?
No.
Oh, it's really fun.
We're going to go to sauna in LA.
Yeah.
I'm never going to get into a sauna with anyone.
Niamh, come on, you're getting into saunas.
You gotta do it. Well, let's do a sauna cast.
Yeah. Niamh, it's not weird.
Yeah.
I can't imagine being in a sauna with my friends. I think
it's really good for your skin.
Human body is a beautiful thing, Niamh.
It's okay to see my shape.
Oh my god, I'm so uncomfortable.
Are you embarrassed?
I just can't imagine it. Okay.
I have really nice legs.
You do. That's totally.
You can see John's muscles. John has muscles on his muscles.
Shut up.
Okay, so I guess it's normal to go with your friends to a sauna. And
we're gonna
have a conversation there.
Yeah. And let's hope we don't break any rules.
Well, maybe let's break one or two.
Like, we're gonna go to LA, and it's
we're gonna fuck up so bad in LA. But who's gonna fuck up the worst?
Come on. I know.
Because, like, Al here, he's from Seattle, so he's probably been to LA. Yeah. So maybe Al, like, you're probably like, oh, cool, they read my email. But maybe send in a reply to this and tell us who you think is going to fuck up the most in LA.
Should we, like, we're going to LA.
Oh, yeah, we'll do an proper announcement about it. But, yeah, if you're going to LA Anime Expo,
yeah,
we're all going to be there.
Yeah.
Like...
We have a panel booked.
No, we don't. Who the fuck? Like
Bryan from Let's Play a Boss, and then the guy would be like, Bill from security.
I could just see some massive American bearded guy, and he gets like our application form for a panel, reads the name, immediately crumples it up, and just tosses it into a big pile of crumpled papers.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna be at LA Anime Expo, and I'm probably gonna do a meetup at that thing, and I'll probably bring these two knuckleheads. So
for security.
Yeah, for security, because
like we joke, but I'm terrified.
Yeah.
But come follow the Let's Fight a Boss Twitter and follow me on Twitter for more info on that. That's at Let's Fight a Boss and at iPatchWolf, and email us at askletsfightaboss@gmail.com.
Yeah.
That's askletsfightaboss@gmail.com.
And thanks for listening, subscribing. Give us a like, or if you hate listening to us, give us a thumbs down. It means the same thing.
I think it actually might mean nothing. I think YouTube changed their algorithms, so give us whatever you want.
Yeah. Do
we have time for one more email, or are we gonna wrap this up?
What, do you have one more?
I have what I think is a decent one, but
let's do it.
So this one is from Diego Hara. I hope I pronounced that right. And I really like your podcast. It's really well made, balanced, and easy to listen. I'm going to edit a little bit here. He has 2 questions for us.
Okay.
He is starting his own Spanish video game podcast, and he wants to know if we have any advice for starting a podcast.
Yes. I feel like we're such fledged, like we're kind of new at this ourselves.
In a way,
we have troubleshooting that we've
but we've also been doing it for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The thing I think matters the most is sticking to a schedule.
Yep.
Like, even if no one's like listening at the start, picking a day that you put that out on and keeping to that is a very big thing.
Yeah. Like, what I'd say on that is just keep going, because podcasting is a skill. Like, it's a skill like any other skill. Like, it is having a conversation, it is having fun, but there is like an art to doing a podcast. And like the thing, it's like improv, when I do a podcast without Bryan and Niamh, I feel so lost, because I am so like, I understand, I think like we have a weird unspoken understanding about how we have a conversation on a podcast, and it feels so alien when I don't have them there. That's not to say I don't enjoy doing podcasts with other people, I do, but try and get a core group of people and just do it with them, because you do just learn how to work together.
Mm-hmm. You definitely get a formula and structure in place. And like the structure can get rearranged, and you'll probably figure out like a sweet spot for each beat.
Yeah.
But do have a body to your podcast.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it won't be organized.
Yeah.
That was a big thing we went through, because originally we didn't have one, and then we implied kind of a basic structure to it, and it made stuff way easier.
Yeah. And it's not like a rule or anything, but it's just something that we all kind of know to follow.
Yeah. There should be a host. You need someone to host a podcast, and that person decides when conversations end, because otherwise the conversations don't end. And like, if you ever listen to a podcast where like the conversations are going in circles or it's just going on too long, that's because the host is not moving the conversation on in a way that is entertaining, you know? And that's important. That's a necessary factor for a podcast.
And what's the other question?
The other question is, he talks about the anime Clockwork Planet, which came out this season, and is from the creator of No Game No Life, and he was very disappointed by it. He thought it was really bad compared to No Game No Life. So the first part of his second question is, have we seen No Game No Life, and what do we think of it? It's one of his favourite ever. I am sorry to say, Diego, I've seen the first episode and it really didn't do anything for me. It's a beautiful looking anime, but there was just some stuff in there that I was not a huge fan of. But, you know, each to their own. Have you guys seen it?
I've seen the first episode as well, and again, yeah, very high production values.
Yeah, the colours are great.
But
I regularly see very cool figures from that show.
Not something I'm into.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's bad.
But then his actual question is, have we ever been really disappointed by something based on the original version of it or the original creator? So a shitty sequel or something like that, essentially.
Yeah, just someone. Okay, I love Boardwalk Empire. He's not David Chase, because David Chase created Sopranos, but the guy who created Boardwalk Empire was a writer on Sopranos. But that guy and Martin Scorsese and a bunch of others made another HBO show called Vinyl, and that show was such a fucking letdown. And HBO don't cancel shows, really, but they didn't make a Vinyl season 2, and they were gonna, and then they said, actually, no. And that tells you everything.
I definitely remember, I know I might have told this before, but like the first time I put hands on Resident Evil 6 and just being like, this game feels terrible. Like, what happens? That was the most like, oh my god, how did this get this way?
I think Final Fantasy 15 was like my big wow, why?
Yeah.
Especially after the amazing 13.
I like 13, you're both wrong.
I've never played them. I played 6 and a bit of 7.
I'm trying to think what else.
I don't know, I feel like I will think about more of these as we go, because I'm disappointed regularly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I really love to give every game as much of a shot as possible. Like
Yeah.
it takes a while before I'll cool on a game, but once I start, it gets like, I remember realizing that Black and White was shit, and that sucked.
I like some Kevin Smith movies, and I hate some of his other movies.
Oh god, the first time I saw 3.0, the Ava 3.0, that movie left me so cold, and I was just so devastated.
He got you.
I don't know, like
the film is fuck the fans.
it's just not a very well made movie. Like it looks beautiful, but like the amount of exposition, like that film is just exposition dumps.
Yeah, it's just here's 10 minutes of this character.
Same with Madoka movie 3 Rebellion. I love Madoka, and that entire movie is people in rooms talking, and it's so
It's called Lord John.
Sure.
I kind of like, I don't like to get hyped based on a creator anyway, because I think every single project is different.
That's
like,
Effect Andromeda.
yeah, it's like there's no point, because like one person doesn't make the thing. Like, it is a combination of people, and people can go, like, even if it's really auteur, like they can be just in a zone that you do not like, you know, and that movie might be shit, but the next one might be great. So I kind of like to look at things very individually and not prescribe any like hype to it based on the people who are involved.
Yeah.
There's very few people I will do it that, like Park Chan-wook is like, I think one of the only people who I'm just like, he's going to make something I like. But that's because he's never let me down.
Did you watch Stoker?
No.
I
Will I
don't
be
know.
let down?
I don't know. You might like it. You
Yeah.
might not like it. I honestly don't know, but I think you should watch Stoker.
Okay, cool. I will.
That's the white movie he made. Like, it stars Nicole Kidman and Mia Wazowski.
Oh, I hate Nicole Kidman. I don't really like her as an actress.
Yeah.
Killer is Dead.
Oh yeah, Suda's only dud.
Killer is Dead is like, that was after that I thought Killer is Dead was going to be No More Heroes 3.
Mm-hmm.
And it was actually only during the last boss fight that I was like, I really didn't like this game. Like, I was just looking back on it and being like, oh shit. And like, it was a Suda 51 game with the soundtrack by Akira Yamaoka, and it should have been amazing, and it was not.
That's disappointing.
Yeah.
Oh, also I didn't like Last Guardian, but there.
Yeah.
I love Ico.
Yeah.
I can't believe the same guy made Last Guardian.
Time.
Yeah.
The greatest challenger.
Speaking of time.
Speaking of time, we are going to enter our loot drop segment.
Oh yeah, we still have to do that. Okay.
We'll go
Enthusiasm
through it
is
quick.
infectious.
Yeah.
Ask Let's Fight a Boss at gmail.com. Do email us. We love getting them.
Yes. So our loot drops, we drop them on the Twitter. Sometimes they're in the descriptions of the podcast, but if you just want quick, easy access, maybe just check our Twitter, which is Let's Fight a Boss.
At Let's Fight a Boss on Twitter.
Let's Fight a Boss.
So I'll go first. Mine is from a favourite of the show, hbomberguy, and he recently put out a video called In Defense of Dark Souls 2. I didn't hate Dark Souls 2 by any means. I definitely didn't like it as much as Dark Souls 1, but he put out this like hour and 20 minutes comprehensive breakdown why he thinks Dark Souls 2 is a better game than Dark Souls 1. And while I don't agree, because I enjoyed Dark Souls 1 better, it is such a compelling argument, and that guy continues to be one of the fucking most talented YouTubers I think I've ever seen. Like, he also has another video called Fallout 4 is garbage, or Fallout 3 is garbage, and here's why, and it's so beautiful. Like, it's fucking excellent, and it's really funny, and it's really entertaining. I would say even if you don't have an interest in those games, Dark Souls or Fallout, you should still watch them just to see a really fantastic piece of YouTube content.
Mine is Toco TV on YouTube. This is a channel that interviews Japanese creators, video game creators, people who do fashion and merchandise, and one of them is on the art director on the original Berserk TV show, which is fucking nuts.
Yep.
But they have an interview with Yoko Taro, the creator of the Nier series, and what?
Drakengard.
Yeah, Drakengard. They have one with Suda.
I feel like Suda's come up a lot this episode.
He's good.
Like in disparate ways.
Yeah, he's just there.
Yeah.
They have one with the creator of Gravity Rush. They have one with the creator. They've got one with Swery. They're all like 10-15 minutes long, and they're shot like super calmly.
Really high production value.
Yeah, they are amazing. I cannot stress that, like, if you like listening to this podcast, you will like this YouTube channel. It has less than 20,000 subscribers,
which is insanity.
That is nothing. You guys need to subscribe to this channel. Like, it is the fucking coolest thing I've found in a long time.
My one is a channel called Max Derrat, and this is just like, is that how you pronounce that? Would you
Max the Rat?
It's not. It's Max Derrat.
But you called him Max the Rat.
Did I? I'm pretty sure I pronounced
Max
it
Derrat, the YouTube.
Okay.
Max Derrat.
Max Derrat.
Derrat?
Anyway, it's a very small YouTube channel where he does analysis videos mostly about Metal Gear.
Okay.
Woo!
I watched his, like, the theory that is it like Metal Gear Sons of Liberty is all a VR trip. So, like, I watched his video on that, and it was fun. He also had a video on his analysis of The Witch, that movie that we all watched and enjoyed.
Really?
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's just a little 10-minute one.
Does he have many videos?
Maybe about 20. Like, it seems like a pretty new channel and a pretty small one. Like, I was just watching him today and I was just like, that's cool. So, like, I haven't tried anything else, but it seems like something that's only going to get better, like, because he's doing some really interesting analysis.
I look forward to watching him. That sounds cool.
Cool.
And I think that brings us to the end of this 48th episode of the Let's Fight a Boss cast.
Can't believe there's been 48 episodes.
48 episodes. Well, I can't believe we've done 50 episodes.
Yeah, if you think about it.
If you think about it. Friends, thank you for joining us today. It's always a pleasure.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Come my lady, come my lady, you're my butterfly, sugar, baby. Come my lady, come my lady, you're my butterfly, sugar, baby. Such a sexy, pretty little thing. This little bitch, you got me sprung with your tongue ring. And I ain't gonna lie, cause your loving gets me high. So to keep you by my side, there's nothing that I won't try. Butterflies in her eyes and her looks to kill. Time is passing, I'm asking, could this be real? Cause I can't sleep, I can't hold still. The only thing I really know is she got sex appeal. I can feel, too much is never enough. You always there to lift me up when these times get rough. I was lost, now I'm found, ever since you've been around. You're the woman that I want, so I'm putting it down. Come my lady, come my lady, you're my butterfly, sugar, baby. Come my lady, you're my pretty baby, I'll make your legs shake, you make me go crazy. Come my lady, come my lady, you're my butterfly, sugar, baby. Come my lady, you're my pretty baby, I'll make your legs shake, you make me go crazy. I don't deserve you, unless it's some kind of hidden message to show me life is precious, and I guess it's true. But to tell the truth, I really never knew till I met you. See, I was lost and confused, twisted and used. I knew a better life existed, but thought that I missed my lifestyle wild. I was living like a wild child, trapped on a short leash, paroled to police files. So yo, what's happening now? I see the sun breaking down into dark clouds, and a vision of you standing out in the crowd. So come my lady, come my lady, you're my butterfly, sugar, baby. Come my lady, you're my pretty baby, I'll make your legs shake, you make me go crazy. Come my lady, come my lady, you're my butterfly, sugar, baby. Come my lady, you're my pretty baby, I'll make your legs shake, you make me go crazy. Hey sugar mama, come and dance with me. The smartest thing you ever did was take a chance with me. Whatever tickles your fancy, girls, me and you like Sid and Nancy. So sexy, almost evil, talking about butterflies in my head. I used to think that happy endings were only in the books I read, but you made me feel alive when I was almost dead. You filled that empty space with the love I used to chase, and as far as I can see, it don't get better than this. So butterfly, here is a song, and it's sealed with a kiss and a thank you, miss. Come and dance with me, come and dance with me, come and dance with me. Come my lady, come my lady, you're my butterfly, sugar, baby. Come my lady, you're my pretty baby, I'll make your legs shake, you make me go crazy. Come my lady, come my lady, you're my butterfly, sugar, baby. Come my lady, you're my pretty baby, I'll make your legs shake, you make me go crazy. Come my lady, come my lady, you're my butterfly, sugar, baby. Come my lady, you're my pretty baby, I'll make your legs shake, you make me go crazy. Come my lady, come my lady, you're my butterfly, sugar, baby. Come my lady, you're my pretty baby, I'll make your legs shake, you make me go crazy. Come and dance with me, come and dance with me. Come and dance with me, come and dance with me. Come and dance with me, come and dance with me. Come and dance with me, come and dance with me. Come and dance with me, come and dance with me. Come and dance with me.
Well, friends, that's what we're here to talk about. So let's dive deep and find out the fall of Bleach. How it happened.
Yes.